What's up, everybody? Welcome to Untamed and Unhinged Reptile Podcast. Got my co-host Eric from EA Snakes, and
What's
today's
going
guest
on, y'all?
we have Britni and Travis from Stronghold Exotics. Just bring them on out because they ain't not they. I haven't heard anything on you start, so let's bring them on out.
What's going on, guys?
So,
It's
guys,
nice to meet y'all.
Hey, you
Definitely.
too.
so go ahead and tell us. Go ahead and tell us about yourselves. I don't know if y'all want to do that together or individually.
We already talked about it, and I'm just gonna be like Vanna White. I'm gonna let Travis. talk about that. I don't do stuff like this, y'all.
So a little bit about us. We've always had an interest in reptiles, and we bought our first snake together last year. So we kind of came on the scene. We're at 120 reptiles now.
Nice.
So about 70 plus boas, 25 short tails, and then just a whole collection of kind of display animals is kind of what we do. So our big focus is boas and short tails. It's funny, even before we met, we started bodybuilding about the same time, right during COVID, the greatest time ever. So I've competed in 5 shows, been nationally qualified 3 times, and Britni did her first show last year. We actually competed together. Nationally
Nice.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
awesome.
yeah. Congrats.
So, Stronghold is kind of our lifestyle. We try to breed strong snakes, healthy snakes, and try to keep up with the same on ourselves. And it's always a struggle. And
Yeah.
we found with reptiles it adds a little bit more to it, but it's also very I try to explain to everybody how relaxing it is actually owning a snake. And it's funny how many people it changes their whole outlook whenever they can see a variety of them. We have some friends that we bring over that hate snakes, would rather, they always have that saying, a dead snake is a good snake. And our philosophy is trying to educate people to where they understand that, these things are a necessity in the environment, but also they're amazing pets. They're amazing animals. And, I didn't even notice the personality differences. But, out of our boas, we have 70 plus boas right now, and they all have different personalities. We can walk in the room and some of them come to the glass as soon as Britni walks in, and she's got to scratch their chin and they'll go back in, and some of them do it to me. And, we always joke around that we'll never own another furry pet after owning these. I mean, we got 4 dogs, and we grew up with dogs, and ours are all geriatric. What are they, 13 plus now?
Yeah,
all 4 of them.
Damn.
Yeah, my boxer turned 14 yesterday.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Yeah.
So that's just a little bit about us. And
That's our lifestyle now. I mean, I'll have to give you a tour.
Yeah, we'll get into that tour. If y'all don't mind, during the pod, but
Yeah.
but you don't just do boas though, correct?
no,
Y'all have
those are a big collection. Short tails, Britni, she'll have to speak on the short tails.
Yeah.
They get
Short tails are my
extremely.
look at that, all of them all over her.
Yeah, those are our Cuban false chameleons. We
Yeah,
always
no,
joke
those
around
dogs.
that. We have 6 of them. They have 2 brain cells between all 6.
And y'all have bearded dragons, you said?
We do not have a bearded dragon just yet. We've looked at a couple of them, but we're actually going to be building a reptile room in our backyard. Then we'll start having some more display animals. Right now, we're kind of keeping it to the point of kind of our breeding groups. We have some display stuff, but
Oh, jumped at the camera.
Bearded dragons are one of those things I think we want to wait until we can give it a space where it can essentially be a house cat. You know, so we want to have that open floor space where we can just let it kind of do its thing, and you know, that's how I want to keep it. So we're kind of waiting on that, I think.
Yeah, we want all of our animals to have what they need. You know, we're kind of we have just our Florida room that's in behind Britni, that has kind of all of our stuff in it right now. But you know, we want to make sure that we can have the biggest enclosure that's in the best for them.
Agree. Okay.
We're kind of limited on space, so
we're just selective right now about what we're bringing into the collection and making sure we can provide for it.
So why boas and not like ball pythons or other big snakes or retics? You know.
So in Florida, we can't have retics.
Oh, y'all are in Florida?
Yeah, we're in Lakeland, Florida, in between.
Okay,
Tampa.
well, that makes sense. Now.
Right next to me.
Oh, you said that. You and I wasn't paying attention. I forgot you were in Florida.
Yeah, so we would have retics. We actually flew up to Tinley this year, last minute, just so we can go see some big snakes. We just, you know, it's but nothing we get to see here. And but so boas, we actually our first snake was a ball python, and we started with ball pythons. We had 2 or 3, and then I bought the first 2 boas, which were probably I can't even say favorite. I hate saying that because all of them were my favorite, to be honest with you. I'll say that the whole night. But one was an IMG.
Here forever.
Yeah. One was an IMG boa, and the other one was a super moon glow. And they are just the most chill, calm.
Actually, the first one was Percy.
Oh, I forgot we had the rescue.
My pet surrender.
Yep. And then that following weekend, we ended up with the IMG and Moonglow, and then we have an addiction. I mean, it is what it is. we go to a reptile store, a show, and we'll walk out with 6 snakes. I mean, it's kind of just it is what it is. We have the room, we have the means to take care of them, so you know, why not?
So how? Go ahead. Go finish, Travis. I'm sorry.
And then Britni decided she was going to get into short tails, and they, you know, I'm a researcher, you know, so my day job is I own an environmental company. I design industrial water treatment systems. So like I'm traveling, I'm in North Carolina right now. I had a customer that had an issue, so I'm helping them out with some of the polymer design. So she wanted to get into short tails, and you know, I support her in everything that she wants to do. And we started doing some research, and I started getting a little nervous. But you know, we actually got lucky. We got lucky on the first couple, and to be honest with you, we were just as calm as the boas we have. But I think the big issue is that, you know, they've been captive bred a lot shorter time than the boas and the ball pythons. So if you look at all of them from my research, ball pythons kind of started first. They've been captive bred for decades. So they're the most tame out of all of them. I explained to everybody, it's like if you were in the woods and you seen a wolf, you're not going to walk and pet the wolf. But if you come to our house, you'll pet our dogs.
I'd pet the wolf.
She would, 100%.
I'm with her. I would paint a wolf too. I mean, pet a wolf, not paint a wolf. Sorry.
But it's one of those things, you know, the more you captive breed these animals, the more domesticated they become. You know, they're familiar with the human scent. And so you can tell even with our boas, our wild caught ones tend to be a little more defensive, just because they were attacked their whole lives. You know, you got to think about it. You know, they're prey up until they become an adult. And I think that's the big problem with why short tails get a bad rap is that, they've only been captive bred. I mean, even now, there's only a handful of breeders, and so
Yeah.
everything's coming in from the wild. Everything's been chased around, tried to be killed by everything it's in its environment. So, yeah, they're
I
going to be a
also
little
think
more.
it's hard to compare different species. It's apples to oranges, in my opinion. Even, yeah, they're both pythons, but short tails are ambush predators. They spend most of their life burrowed down and their bodies covered and hidden and not being touched and stimulated, and so they're just more reactive to those things, I think, naturally, like instinctually. Just like one of my favorite things about them is like when you handle them, I love how they like throw it in reverse. Because that's what they do in the wild. If they're feeling scared or defensive, they'll just kind of back into their burrow. So it's one of those things I like to teach people when they're learning how to handle them. How to manage when they do that. It's just one of those funny things that they do. But that's kind of my opinion on it. They have different requirements. They have different evolutionary backgrounds. They have different needs.
I think one of the other big issues is some of their normal tendencies are aggressive or defensive in boas or ball pythons. So they tend to make a lot of noise. I mean, they huff and puff and they blow air. And like, I still get nervous around them a little bit just because I don't handle them as much. A boa, I feel like 99% of the time I can tell if that boa is going to bite me. They get tight, they start blowing air, they open their mouth. The short tails on the other end, they do that all the time. So you don't know. It's, to me, I still haven't figured it out. Like, let's say that I haven't figured out what that telltale, like, I'm gonna bite you.
Honestly, I'm afraid to get bit by boas because their teeth get stuck in you, don't they?
I've never had one.
Never
I've
had
never
it happen yet.
Yeah, that's one of the short tails.
Hold up. Oh my God, that is gorgeous.
And I'm telling you,
That's beautiful.
pictures and video are about 10% of what that snake looks like. I mean, it's so crazy when you see them in person.
And I like that you guys are like a power couple. So like, what is y'all's routine? Like working with like, is it gym snakes or, snakes in gym or like, how do y'all do that?
Routine right now.
So our animals always come first.
Yeah.
That's our main thing is so, we were fortunate enough that Britni was able to go back to school full time. So her daily job is handling the reptiles. She does, I wouldn't be able to do it without her. That's for sure. She does all the cleaning. She does all the feedings. I have to get into her routine. I'm traveling for work. I'm dealing with a lot of environmental issues. So I have to leave sometimes on a moment's notice, and I may be gone for a couple days. And Britni holds down the fort. She's the rock. I mean, that's
that being said, Britni also has ADHD and relies very heavily on Travis's systematic design skills.
I get it. I do.
Pull it off.
It's one of those things we just complement each other, and I think that's why it's always worked with us. Is that we know what our strengths and weaknesses are, and we rely on the other one to get it done. And that's where there's some disagreements on how we should do certain things, but at the end of the day, if it has to do with the animals, I rely on Britni's expertise. I mean, she's raised primates. She's worked at University of Florida. I mean, she's the one with the extensive background. I've had dogs my whole life, but I've also
So that's something like when people ask us how long we've been doing this or what our experience is like, that's something I really like to point out is that that's all I've done my entire life is take care of animals. I've been, a professional animal caregiver for years. Now I'm in nursing, but all of that experience is super valuable, and it's really helped us, I think, progress as far as we have. So, you know, we do things a little differently around here. Like, one of the things that I think we do that's kind of unique is we also raise all of our own feeders here. So we raise 2 species of rat, we raise quail, rabbits now. You know, so I'm always trying to provide our animals with like a good variety of food.
Yes. Okay.
You know, so I don't really have picky eaters, because
Except for our carpets.
yeah, there are some. There are like a couple, but for the most part, they're introduced to like a really varied diet from an early age here. You know, and I try to keep that natural for them and not so limited.
Well, that's one thing from
like that we
bodybuilding.
can control what they eat and what's going into their body here. I deworm all of our feeders. You know, I know that they're healthy. I know what they're eating. I know, you know, that they're getting the best. So my snakes are getting the best.
So how do you? Oh, I'm sorry, Travis. Go ahead.
That's one thing that we've kind of taken the approach from bodybuilding. You know, you don't eat fish year round. You know what I mean? That's the most lean thing. You know,
I do.
You make sure you have a good variety. And, you know, that's where we try to make sure that we're feeding them different things. One, if somebody buys one of our snakes, we want them to be able to feed them what they want to.
Mm.
You know, they're not going to be pigeonholed to frozen thaw. They're not going to be pigeonholed to, you know, live. They're going to be able to do whatever's comfortable for them. And, you know, and that's where ultimately we want to breed and raise snakes that are user friendly, you know, and make sure they're healthy. I mean, that's the key with all this, is that we have a mindset of everything that we breed could potentially be our pet for the rest of its life, you know. And that's one thing that I wish was more prevalent in the industry. You see a lot of people, they breed because they want to, and not because, or they breed because they're trying to get to a goal or they're trying to make money on it. And, you know, at the end of the year, they're like, I have to make room. I need to sell all these snakes for the new snakes coming in. It's like, dude, you have 200 snakes left over from last year. Why are you still breeding 1,000 snakes or creating 1,000 babies when what you had from last year has
still there? Yeah, I don't get that either.
We try to keep our pairings to a minimum.
Okay.
Very intentional.
Yeah.
Well, there's like a lot of questions here for you guys. I'm sorry, Travis.
Okay. No, that's good.
There's like a lot of questions here for you. You got one from Fernando. How difficult it is to raise quail? And then you got one from.
Bad.
Go ahead.
The quail aren't bad. The quail, just we learned recently, you really just have to invest in a good incubator, is what it comes down to. Because if your hatch rate isn't right, it's not really worth its, you know, weight. But it does help prevent us having to use a lot of like rat pinkies and stuff. So it allows our rats and stuff to grow up a little bit, because we can replace a lot of that with baby chicks. So like every 3 to 4 weeks, I'm getting 2 dozen, 3 dozen quail chicks, which helps our rat population kind of maintain. So it's learning how to put all the systems together to make it beneficial, and investing in good equipment and stuff. But as far as raising the quail themselves, it's super easy. I mean, they take up, what do I have, babe? Like 3 dozen quail.
Yeah.
You know, that's retic food too, right?
I feed them to everything.
Yeah.
Every house eats quail.
I was like, if you ever do like frozen or ship, you know, I'll be there to buy quail because I need them for my retics.
Do you guys raise them outside?
Yeah, they are outside. They're in a hutch. I actually bought it as it was a quail hutch. Just a local, man. We do a lot of like local business with like all of our enclosures are custom made by a local, builder.
Yeah,
all
he's
of our outside enclosures.
he's
So I
freaking
just had a
amazing.
made.
So like
Dang.
basically our entire snake room, one of the Christina had a question. Was it, a piece
Oh,
of
that was it. Was
a piece,
says for someone starting up in the reptile business, what's your best piece of advice?
what I would say, there's two different things. One, breed what you love. Everybody will tell you that that's in it. Like find 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 snakes that intrigue you. Um, Look at different ways that you can take different paths. We're new at this. We bought snakes probably in the first couple of months that we thought we wanted to breed, and we'll probably have to move on from some of those projects in the next year. But it's one of those things. Buy snakes that you enjoy, because every day I love going to pick up all of our snakes. I don't have any of them that are, I don't. There isn't any of them that I don't like. We make sure that any of the morphs that we get, we want to breed it, and it changes. Like what I'll tell you too is make sure you do your research, because there's so many morphs and there's so many people breeding them. There are different quality levels. You gotta find out who's the specialist at certain things. There's certain guys that, I would buy the raptor gene from, because they're very particular on their raptors. They're very knowledgeable about what it is, because that's one of those genes that's kind of not really talked about a lot. I think it's a beautiful gene. We have a super raptor that is probably hands down one of the coolest babies that we have. But back to that question, make sure you breed what you love. It'll keep you interested in it. We just had we had a Mayan litter. Jason's Exotics has the Mayan gene, and we lucked out. And we got 3 adults this past year, and we took one of them out with a Vin Russo blood, and it really kind of lit that fire again. When those babies came out and seen them, I was like, holy cow! Like, this is the cool part. But you have to be ready for the grind. The rest of the year is the grind. Prepping for baby season, like it's and it's stressful. Make sure you start off small. Start off at what you think you can do, and then go from there.
I think another piece of advice I would have is to keep an open mind. I think when we started, we had a lot of ideas of how we thought things should be, and well, this is how we're going to do it, and we only listen to certain advice or certain people. And I think you really have to open your mind to the possibilities, because we in 1 year have changed so many things that I wish we would have done differently from the beginning. I wish we would have listened to so many people. I wish we would have, all this, just keep an open mind, because there is no one right way to do all of it. No one knows the right way to do this. Everyone, if you do what works best for you, and you've got to kind of figure that out as you go sometimes. So I'm a very intuitive caregiver, and I think that comes from my history of caring for animals. Where I think Trav is more like the systematic type, where temperature should be this and things should be like this and this, and I get that, but I'm also much more intuitive, and I don't know if that's just like I said with my history or being a woman or whatever, but I tend to, and I do spend a lot more time with them, like he was saying, that this is my job. I'm home with them all the time, so I know their behaviors. I know what's normal and abnormal for them, so I can watch them and tell when something isn't right or when something needs to be changed. So I think you really need to have animal intuition skills, to be able to do this successfully.
And also keep in mind, think about the level of reptile ownership that you want to have, because if you want to breed 2 or 3 snakes a year, like 2 or 3 pairs a year, you can go with big displays and you can do a lot of, and I was really against it, going to the rack systems. I felt like it wasn't very personable, but I was treating snakes like they were me. You know what I mean? Like I would want a big area. I'd want to be able to do this and do that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them don't want that.
We started doing the research, and these snakes don't do that. Short tails live in a burrow. They're not out traveling and they're climbing, and so we found that listen to your snakes. They'll tell you. We would put them in some of them a bigger tub. They would stress out and stop eating. We put them in a smaller tub, and they would flourish. I'll say it out loud because most people won't. We cohab some of our snakes because if we don't, they stress out. They will lose their ever-loving mind. They will, like the IMG and the Moonglow.
Yeah.
If I separate them two, they will run around the cage and lose their mind. And if I put them together, not one issue. Now we don't feed them together. Never feed your snakes together. Like I want to make sure that's
clear.
Yeah.
Use your head. Is that what you're saying?
Clear.
I made that mistake once.
Don't eat together.
Never again.
Bro, I did that too. I think everybody does that once, at least once.
Get complacent. It is. It's yeah. We all.
I did that. I dropped the rat into the tank, and the other one got it, and the other one saw it, and they both right into each other. I was like, damn. And he started wrapping the other snake up. I was like, oh, it sucks.
Not fun.
Definitely not.
We've had our accidents. Like so with some of our snakes being cohabbed, we have to put them in tubs to feed them, to separate them out. I was feeding one side, Britni was feeding the other, and I stuck a snake in a bin that already had a snake in it and didn't realize it.
Yes. Oh, yes.
I'll tell you that story.
There's all kinds of thumping in the thing. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Go over there, and sure enough, they're both wrapped up. Nobody was harmed. Everybody was good, but it was, it was a miscommunication on our part. I don't feel like there's bad snakes. You make mistakes with them, and that's. So.
My dad did that. He put a frozen mouse in the microwave when I was younger, and it was one of the worst things that my mom found out about.
Oh no!
The rat blew up in the microwave. I did that
everywhere. Everywhere.
Bro, I did it too. Come into the hobby, like they're like, get frozen thawed. So I get a frozen rat, and I'm like, how the hell do I thaw this thing out? Because I gotta feed it right now. So I put it on a plate, like a paper plate. Throw it in the microwave, and the next thing I know, the thing blew up. I was like, oh. I was like, damn it. So I had to throw out the microwave and go buy another one because my mom was pissed.
Oh my god.
Do you guys feed only live, or do you do frozen thawed as well?
Yeah. So we do. Go ahead, babe.
We've had some population issues with our rats, now and then, especially here in Florida. It gets so hot in the middle of the year, they won't breed sometimes. So we do frozen thawed occasionally. That's actually the last 2 feedings I've been feeding frozen just to help our population get back up. But I just recently started putting them in the incubator. I don't know why I didn't think of that like a long time ago, but that's been the easiest way. So usually I'll put them in the fridge the night before, thaw them, and stick them in the incubator for a little while. And that seems to work really well. But when we do feed our rats, we actually use a gas chamber. So I just pre-kill for most of them.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple that prefer live. So sometimes I'll gas them down to where they're just, still alive.
Everything here eats frozen thawed.
Yeah.
And I never have any issues with feeding. Everyone eats.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I don't have any issues feeding any of mine frozen. I have one or two that prefer not to, but you know.
I just can't do the rodents. And my wife definitely won't allow that.
It's a lot. I mean, I get it.
I think a lot of the smells, you know, that's just no matter how much you're saving, it's rough, you know.
I think
and I'm not prepared for that.
We're lucky here. We have a good space to put them in, and you know, they're in like a nice covered, screened outdoor area. And you know, I'm here. They're getting clean bedding every week, and you know, it's really not too bad here.
Yeah, we also make sure that there's fans, so that, like it doesn't like if you don't put any fans, it would definitely, you know,
linger.
It could build up, you know what I mean? But you know, we've found out ways to, you know, we change out the bedding. Like some rat breeders will keep bedding for a long time. We use a bare minimum breeding stall pellets, and then we change them out weekly. 10 days at the most. So, you know, the big thing is that we want clean rats whenever we feed them to the snakes too. We don't want the rats dirty and all their feces like whenever we're feeding. So believe me, our rats get taken care of better than just as well.
I have a leash trained rat. I'm just saying.
I was gonna say, do you train the rats? But she just said she did.
I have a couple favorites. Yeah.
Oh, we got one that's like the size of a cat. I don't know how. Like this thing is crossbred somehow.
Like so, you guys, it's a house cat. Do you want to see it?
Sure, I'll see it. I want to see it.
All right.
But while she's getting that, we have this question right here. I don't know. Speaking of care, what's your opinion on smaller enclosures for snakes? Like many people say they prefer smaller, and you got to know how to set up the rats. And are those like good for their whole life?
So I would say using snakes as a general term is kind of hard. But if I said boas, I think some of your dwarf species, you know, your bloods, your Central Americans. Yeah, that's
not a rat.
Oh my Lord.
That's a giant cat.
How much does that weigh?
Right?
He's got to be 3 or 4 pounds.
And I swear that
10-pound dumbbell.
Bro, I'm like, this rat's like lifting weights in his tub too.
He's our
that rat is making me feel small.
Right?
His name is Templeton.
Everybody's like, oh gee, I want it.
What?
Hi, Templeton.
Yeah, look. Oh man, they said Ratatouille.
But back to the enclosure thing. It's hard. You know, you gotta listen to your snake. You know, there's some of our snakes that stay in enclosures. So if you on the right hand side of Britni's screen, those are all 4x2x1s on the bottom. You know, some of our snakes, once they hit about 4 foot, they end up going in there. Some of them could stay in bins. You know, like I said, it's all preference of that snake. If the snake's not doing well in a bin, you probably need to put it in a bigger enclosure. But also be careful whenever you put a snake in something that's too big without enough hides. If it feels like it's exposed, it's going to freak out. It's going to stress itself out. So like I said, I don't see anything wrong with keeping. When I first started, I felt like it was wrong to keep them in a bin. But now, after doing this, you know, I would rather them feel safe. You know, we get our snakes out twice a week for cleanings, and then I also will just get them out just to handle them and make sure.
Yeah, they're out for pictures and just to like hang out all the time. They're on our neck while we're cooking breakfast and that kind of stuff.
So I mean, and I hate that I couldn't give like a direct answer on the housing side. I would say anything boa wise up to probably 2 years of a medium to small enclosure. I wouldn't get it too big. I'd make sure that they have a decent hide that they can kind of feel safe in. I also like keeping a water bowl that they can get their whole body in. Like, we found that our snakes love to soak, and that's even our big enclosures. We have big pans in the bottom of them that we put in. We may not keep them in there all the time, but we'll put them in there once a month. Like when they're going into shed that they can climb into, they can soak. We don't have any. So.
No. Sorry, they're talking in the chat about how long rats live for. They said 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Travis, to continue on to that, I think it's species specific.
Yeah.
There's some species of snakes that will forage around for their food, and then there's some species that'll, like you said, sit in a hole and just wait. So you have to know what your species of snake wants.
Exactly.
Like our carpets are in a 40-gallon right now, babe.
Yes.
Wait, how many do you got? How many carpets you got?
Two yearlings.
Oh, and so y'all have them together in the tank?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
We have 2 separate trees for them that they can kind of get in. They have their spots they want to hang out.
I think she's gonna show us. Sorry.
She's going.
I have so many questions, and we're like 36 minutes in already. I'm like, dang, that went like quick. But like, y'all guys have like a big crowd in here right now. That's all I gotta say. So before we go any further, I want you guys to plug yourself for everybody, where they can find you.
Yeah. So right now we have Instagram, Stronghold Exotics. That's all of our pictures, and we kind of keep up with all of our snakes.
Dang, that's gorgeous.
That's a beautiful tank.
Yeah, we did all custom backgrounds for a lot of our enclosures. So the one on the right is Smiley. He's always in that spot. The one on the left is I always forget her name.
Bagheera.
Bagheera.
Trying to figure out how to work this thing.
Yeah, it's hard for
Sorry,
camera. Like to flip the camera. To flip the camera, you go to more, and then you go to settings, and then it's camera right there.
Okay.
And then it'll flip it. It'll ask you front or back.
Your room, by the way, looks amazing. Like it really
I'll
does.
figure the rest of it here in a second. Okay.
Bro, I know.
Yeah,
She showed it to me.
This was Smiley. He's got a smiley face on the top of his head, which he won't let you see right now.
Oh, that's a jungle, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. And then Bagheera.
Oh, they're both jungles.
I think they're jungle het albino. Both of them are.
They're
I think
gorgeous.
so.
They're gonna be bright yellow and black. Oh man.
I'm excited. I really
I'm
enjoy
just gonna
them.
walk you guys through since we're here. So
Oh yeah, go ahead.
This is Spotty. That's
Can you
that's
hear
our daughter's leopard. He's hungry. He'll be at the front here in a second.
he's a sweetie. He usually likes to come out and hang out.
Oh.
Come on, baby.
Dude, so I sent a picture of my room, and then she sent a picture back of her room. I was like, oh, never showing my room again.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. We have a custom builder. We basically built out our entire room. I've sketched everything out, and he put everything together, and it came out freaking amazing. I mean, we got underneath Spotty is the coach whip. Is he out or is he hiding?
He's hiding, but I'll see if I can get him to come play.
Yeah, so Britni for Mother's Day, I got her a coach whip instead of a coach bag. That's how I know how to keep her.
Ooh, yeah. Coach whips are nice.
Oh, he's huge too. I think he's 5 foot.
That's gorgeous. That coach whip is badass. Savage Reptile says.
Yeah,
How's the temperament on that guy?
He's actually really good. He gets into defensive posture. I'm going to take this out. He'll get into his defensive posture, but if I actually just grab him, he'll just let me hang on, hold on to him. It's going to be hard to do with this in my hand, but.
I saw your video and he was really animated.
Oh yeah.
I just don't want him to get out. He is fast.
Yep. Are y'all breeding? Y'all are breeding, right? So what projects are y'all like working with right now in breeding?
So on the Boas side, like I said, we are big into the blood morph.
Blood morph. Okay.
So we actually got 3 adult super Mayans, which I said like are from Jason's Exotic. Basically, he's the only one. I think we're the second. I don't know if it's official, but I think we're the second breeder to actually have a litter of Mayans.
Nice.
And they are freaking amazing. So our focus is we do a lot of blood stuff. We're working on the Sun Dragon project. I think everybody's kind of working on that.
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties.
There was a question here for you from Christina. Did you see that question?
What was it?
It says, how do you successfully convince your significant other to dedicate a room to your reptile collection? Look at his face.
The hard part is not giving her the whole house. Like I told her, I said, I'm gonna have to move out if we get if we keep going. So
no,
I think he drew the line at Ralphie.
Right. That layout is amazing though.
Yeah, so I drew up all the towers, and our builder built them out. I mean, he's freaking amazing. So I mean, big shout out to him. If anybody needs a enclosure, message us on Instagram, and we can get you his contact information.
Yeah, I was about to hit you up too. I was gonna be like, "Who's your builder?"
Yeah, Britni would be able to. Britni, what's his name again?
His name is Richard. He just does it, as a personal business now.
It's a part-time thing for him.
Yeah,
he used to breed ball pythons, and it got too much for work, and he got out of the ball pythons, but found that, with his experience, he could build enclosures. That's our Texas rat snake, scaleless Texas rat snake.
Oh, y'all have rat scaleless?
Yeah.
And I have a leucistic rat snake.
That's what I want to put him with.
Oh, I have it. If you want to borrow it. I just want a baby.
And that's what we talked to a couple breeders while we were at.
He says, "Me, I'm the builder." Laugh out loud.
Oh,
he's here.
There he is.
Nice.
Shout out, amazing job.
I didn't know if I should give out his information or not. I didn't know if he wanted me to.
Yeah, like I said, we came up. I measured everything out and gave him some ideas on what I wanted, and I'm telling you, his execution,
amazing, phenomenal.
Yeah,
I just gotta say, like, he really built like the whole thing just like that. And I need some of those for my retics.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, like I
man,
said,
those are gorgeous, man. Clean.
He did a great job.
Yeah, we went to everybody uses the what is it, the Herbstat thermostats.
Oh, that's what I use right now.
I'm telling you, the ones that we have on there, I can't remember the brand. Like I said, you can hit us up on Instagram. But they're all variable power, but we have one for each one, and they're like $25 a piece. So every one is labeled, and we know exactly what each hotspot is.
Oh, that looks just like what I use for my geckos.
Yep.
For my leopard geckos.
There's 2 versions. One is an on-off thermostat, and there's one that's a variable thermostat. So it'll actually regulate the power on it.
They said Inkbird?
It's not Inkbird. It's Here, I can pull it up.
Is it these? These?
Yep. Those are the ones right there.
Yeah, see, there's a gecko on it. Yeah. Oh, okay. Nice.
I'm telling you, those have been a game changer for us because, like, some of our females, especially whenever they're gravid, they get a little, they get very temperature sensitive.
Yeah.
You can actually make 1 degree adjustments on each one. So if we see a snake is moving off the hot spot a lot, we can actually move the hot spot down to where they'll sit on it the whole time.
Yeah, I definitely gotta hit him up. Man, I need tank like that. I like the whole thing.
I love your organization.
For real. My if you saw mine, you'd be like, yeah, I don't like your organization.
So everyone's cage cards are flipped around right now because I fed yesterday, so I have to go around and check everybody. But we give everyone a cage card. So I give everyone names. Every animal here has a name.
For y'all just started too, right? Y'all just came in not that long ago.
Started last
A year ago?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I was like, I thought y'all just came out because I only saw like y'all had 500 followers, you know, and I wanted to get y'all.
People see this and see like we're serious about it.
I mean, if they don't see this and don't take you that you're serious, and then they got problems. So organized. Everybody's like so organized.
Yeah, this is our
This is my Brazilian short-tailed possum. Hey, buddy.
A possum. You know,
Oh,
I want a
I've
raccoon.
never seen that.
they're really cool. Like they're solitary animals. They use a litter box.
For real.
Yep.
That's so much progression in 1 year. I was going to follow just for the rest.
Yeah, Chris and we have some work to do.
Bro, after seeing this, I got a lot of work to do.
All right.
I just don't even want to show my setup anymore. I'm just
big ass boa.
yeah,
Oh,
I do actually.
Cool. She is a monster.
Oh, so you know when you were talking about like keep them in proper tanks?
So this boa is probably 10 and a half foot and about 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And she's in a 4x2x2 and she's comfortable.
So I asked Eric a question, and it may be dumb, but I don't think most people know. But like, what does IMG stand for?
Increasing melanin gene. So
Okay.
every time that it sheds, it'll actually get darker and darker. The blacks will get blacker. And Brittany's going to show you our IMG. So he started off as basically a normal. Like he looked just like a normal boa constrictor, and he has completely.
Hold on. Give me a second.
And I'm like, when I get off this life, I'm gonna just go back to the drawing board. Dang.
That's part of my issue is that I have to have things kind of organized. And
That picture that you posted on your Instagram of the IMG and the moon glow, those are my two favorite boa morphs.
I was gonna
So
say
like,
those are my
what do you know?
my two favorite. Yep. The sun glow, the moon glows. I love all those. Actually, the white one. What's the white one? Is it a moon glow?
Yeah.
Moon glow.
Or crystal. We've got some of those too.
yeah, so we also
I don't know what a crystal is. So
Fire.
So a crystal is a super labyrinth. So it's almost it's still got some pattern to it. It's got pink. Its patterns are more pink.
Well, ours are hypo too, babe.
Yeah.
so kind of like a Hog Island boa, but not.
No, they're white. I mean, they're
They're okay. They're white. Okay.
yeah. That's so the super labyrinth actually reduces pattern. It basically wipes everything. They're beautiful. I think she's going to grab one right now.
Yeah. It says we need Ricky Ball 34 to come to all our houses and get us set up. I mean, I wouldn't mind that. That'd be dope. But that's gorgeous. Oh
Yeah,
man.
that's beautiful.
So it's got a blue, like a crystal blue eye. Whereas like the super fires, which next year we're shooting for some super fires next year. They're a solid white snake with black eyes.
Nice.
Gorgeous.
Pattern.
My sister, I know my sister's watching. This is her favorite snake. Her favorite, Sarah.
That's Sarah?
Yeah.
This is Sarah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, can I see Sarah? Did not know it was crystal.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous. I definitely want
Travis,
that.
the super fires, are they similar to the super fires in like ball pythons?
I'm not real familiar with the ball pythons. The super fires in boas are solid white. I mean, there is no pattern. But there's some weird genetic thing that's going on with them that they'll get a little bit of yellow on their nose, but then also, who is it? Da Vinci has one that almost looks like a cow retic. It is freaking amazing. Like they're
Yeah, the black freckles.
They're trying to figure out where that's coming from. If it's genes that are bleeding through. But I love the fire. We have four fire adults right now. 2 males, 2 females.
I only ask because the super fires and ball pythons have black eyes and red pupils, and they have little, sometimes random patches of yellow with a white snake.
It may be pretty similar. The only yellow that they get is like on the very tip of their nose.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, y'all have like almost 25 people in here, almost. And I mean, y'all are killing it. Y'all are killing it. I mean, I really love you guys. I just met you guys today. Like, you guys are amazing. And I just like showing y'all off. I just like showing the people off, telling us about yourself. I mean, it's a good show. It's been great.
Yeah.
But I do have a question for you guys, though.
Yeah.
What's up?
Are y'all planning to make this like a long-term thing, or like get an LLC, do it long-term, or?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
we started with every intention of doing this, for a long time. We invested in quality animals. I think for us too, we're lucky. Like our location, we're central to some really excellent breeders and like resources. We have, I have a reptile vet locally. I have an emergency 24-hour reptile vet locally. We've got, we're 2 hours from Miami. We're near a lot of really, reputable breeders and people, and we can go to Daytona to the show every year, and that's, a weekend getaway for us. Like, we're lucky in that sense that it's an option for us to be able to continue doing this long term successfully, because we have all those resources available to us, aside from everything that we do here on our own.
Another thing is that we'll grow to the point to where it's fun. And once it stops being fun, we'll downsize to where we have fun with it, and that's why we're trying not to get, if we have 10 females go every year, I'll be happy just on the boas. I know some people shoot for 20, some people, right now, I just don't see that as something we want to do. We're just going to stick to stuff that we love, because like I said, we look at it as if we can't sell these animals, we have to take care of them the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing I wish everybody would kind of look at the reptile industry as, is that, and I tell everybody it's 10% of the population messes it up for everybody. I think that there's 10% of everybody that mess it up. And the good thing that I loved about the reptile industry is that they're quick to call people out on stupid stuff. If you do things that are harmful to animals, they'll be the first ones to throw you under the bus, and they should.
You're blacklisted. Yeah.
They should back over you afterwards. Like, I have zero respect for anybody that harms an animal. I mean, we ran into an issue where, I think it was in November. somebody that we followed had posted, issues, or he had a sale on some of his snakes. He had a bunch of snakes left over from the year, and he had a big sale. A big breeder, and I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to get into anything.
I feel you.
Him and made a comment about throwing them in the freezer.
Yeah.
And he said, you're screwing up the industry for all of us. You need to freeze those snakes. Like, it was blunt, like, about his methods. And within 24 hours, I want to say his site was shut down, his IG was shut down, and this guy was a big, a big breeder.
Oh, damn.
That's one thing that I hope everybody goes into it. If you want to get into this industry, there's a lot of great people.
There is.
Remember, but there is 10% that you need to stay away from. And
There is.
do things that you feel are ethical. And if you ever feel like you're in that gray area, talk to people. Have
Appreciate that, Santi. Thank you.
Oh, believe me, we did our research. We wouldn't get on a podcast with somebody that we didn't think was pushing the right agenda. So Chris, that's why we're here. And, we're excited to be able to do these things with you guys because, we heard good things and I get goosebumps. I'm not even going to lie. Ship Your Reptiles was on your beginning.
Yeah.
They actually saved 9 of our snakes. I get kind of emotional about it. Not even going to lie to you. We bought an entire breeding set from a girl that was kind of getting out of the hobby. UPS lost their
Gorgeous animals, like one of a kind animals.
Yeah,
I heard that story. Yeah, somebody told me too. I can't remember.
It was what was her name? Susan.
Yeah, I think Susie. Yeah, Susie told me that she saved your animals. Yes.
Yeah, and then we met her.
We met her in Tinley, but basically, who is it? FedEx that does it, or no? It's you.
It was FedEx.
FedEx.
I was on the phone with them every 2 hours. Hey, where are the snakes? Can you find them? What can we do to help? I said, I'll drive up to Tennessee to the hub. I don't care. Like, you tell me what I need to do because there's eight adult snakes and a baby snake all in a box. And they basically on Saturday morning, after being missing for 4 days, FedEx, the lady was being rude and was like, you just need to count them dead. And I was like, excuse me?
Wow.
I was like, this isn't
paper.
This isn't paper that I'm shipping. Like, these are lives that are in a box. Like, and Susie got involved. She was actually on vacation. She heard about it, and she found the damn box. She called her contacts and found the box. Like, I'm telling you, I got goosebumps right now. Like,
we never met her before that. Didn't know who she was. She
It wasn't
heard
even
about our
shipped to
case and took it upon herself to find those animals.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
They sponsor me.
One part is that it wasn't even shipped through them. It was shipped through another
Company.
group.
Yeah.
And she got involved because that's how much she cares. I mean, that says a lot. And believe me, they'll have our business. Anything that we ship will go through them. Like, I can't say enough. That's what I'm saying. There's people in this industry that are freaking amazing.
She was top notch.
Yeah, I love Susie. I do. And when I told them like I want to get them tattooed, like they actually paid for it to get tattooed. Yeah. And they're like, only 4 of you guys have tattoos from us. I think it's me, LSR, Lone Star Reptiles, Earl. He's a big time breeder up down here in Texas, Dallas, actually. His snakes go on like movie scenes and stuff like that. He's awesome. But yeah, every time I talk to Susie, I make like little videos for her in there. But I do, yeah, Susie's awesome. They're amazing people. Her and Chad.
Travis, I agree like 1,000%. When you're positive and nice to people, you'd be surprised what those people will be positive back towards you. You know what I mean? That's something that I wish I knew earlier in life, to be honest.
I just getting into this hobby in the beginning, like I try to always be nice to anyone who reaches out to us, you know, especially through like our business page. And, you know, if you have questions, like I take my time to answer questions. I talk to people. I've made so many amazing friends, like just incredible, like people that I've never even met in person. And we're like this now, you know?
That was what was amazing about Tinley. Like we went to Tinley on a whim, like just, hey, we're going to fly up, you know.
Yeah, we decided like Thursday.
We took one bag, we bought clothes whenever we got there. Like it was, you know, hey, we wanted to see some cool snakes, but it was awesome. The people that we ran into that we knew
that we've never met.
Really know.
They saw us at Tinley and like we were just all friends, you know.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, so you were saying about the future of Stronghold. So we're planning on the next. What's that?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We're planning on the next year. We're going to build a separate building. It'll probably be 1,500 square feet. That we'll be able to have all of our snakes housed. We're going to do some display stuff. We're going to do some different things. So we're in this for the long run. You know, we want to make an impact, and we want to breed quality snakes. You know, and that's our goal is to breed. You know, we don't want to be the best at everything, but there are some things that we love, and we're going to push them really hard. There's a lot of stuff with the bloods that I think has been kind of slept on because they're a recessive gene. You know, you're talking about an 8-year project.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we both have kind of a favoritism towards the recessive genes. It's the same with me and the short tails. I think a lot of people don't want to take the time or don't want to play the long game on recessive genes, and they get kind of lost for that reason.
A recessive gene is the same, right? For like ball pythons, it's like the light colors.
Well, just any gene that's recessive in nature. So, you know, it's more difficult from a breeding standpoint because you're 2 to 4 generations out from creating anything visually.
So like your recessive genes are, so if I take a blood and I put it with a normal, that next generation will all be het blood and will have no visual. So you create all normal snakes.
Okay.
The next pairing, when you go het to het, you're only talking about maybe a 50% chance of bloods, 50% normals. So whenever you're doing these projects, so say I want to put the labyrinth into the blood project.
Mm-hmm.
Labyrinth's a dominant gene, so it makes it easy. I can take that, I have to breed it with a blood. Now I get a labyrinth het blood. Now I can put it back with a blood, but I won't get, there's a chance I might not get a labyrinth blood because of the het. So
I mean, it's what makes them more valuable ultimately, you know, when you have those visual recessives, but a lot of people don't play that game. It's just more, there's instant gratification in the dominant genes, you know.
And a lot of people chase the money. Like look at the IMG gene.
True.
It's an amazing gene, but it's so saturated now. I mean, I think I looked on Morphs market.
I mean, it'll take over your gene pool if you're not careful.
What about dwarf bulls?
We have a couple.
So bloods are, I would call them a dwarf species. You know, a male is only going to get to be about 5 foot long.
Mm-hmm.
A female will get to 6, 7 feet.
No, my dogs never play, and they're over here like acting crazy all of a sudden.
I was like, what?
So we have some island boas that we're getting into a little bit. We're going to start doing some locality stuff. I'm interested in the locality stuff because I feel like if we don't keep that alive as a hobby, there may never be these in the environment ever again. You know, you look at some of these islands, I mean, they're so Like the island boas, they can be wiped out in a single year. Like, and us hobbyists may be the only ones with them to be able to replace those in the environment. And I'm not trying to stand on a soapbox or anything, but I wish entities seen us as that and not a threat to them. We deal with a lot in Florida,
Yeah.
and
Not
we get,
saying any names.
yeah, and we deal with a lot in Florida because people hate us without even knowing us. But I also think it was 10% of the population, 10% of reptile breeders that made it bad for us. So we only have ourselves to blame, but we have to police ourselves.
True.
That's where I'm always up for criticism, as long as it's constructive. If you feel like there's something I'm doing that's unethical, have a conversation with me, and those are things that we have to do as a group.
I feel like people find y'all guys intimidating because y'all are.
Am I?
I mean, they call it to me. I'm like, they call it to me, and they're like, "You're intimidating to talk to." I'm like,
that happens.
Really?
Lot. It happens a lot.
Like how? But you do have some badass people around you in Florida. So you got Eric, you got Bosa, you got Billerino.
You name me first.
Yeah, why? You're on my show. You're right here. Of course, I'm gonna name you first.
I appreciate you calling me a badass, brother. I love it.
Yeah, we're surrounded by a lot of really great people, and awesome breeders, and we're able to. We like a lot of the start. Like when we started getting our collection, we were able to drive and meet people and put our hands on the animals and see them, and decide if they were right for us. So that was a great opportunity for us in the beginning, and that's really how we established most of our collection we have right now.
He said, "Bro, see them in real life." I can't wait. I want to meet them in real life. Like, who would it? They're badass. I thought they owned the gym. I can vouch for you, Snakes. He's a pretty good guy. What was I going to say, though? I was going to say something. Oh, yeah. I was going to say something about USARK. Like, what is y'all's take on USARK? I know y'all don't work with USARK, the other one, but y'all work with USARK Florida, correct?
Yeah. So, actually, we're local to, we're like, what, less than 3 miles away from Family Reptiles, which is owned by the USARK Florida chapter president. So she lives right here in our town. We have 3 doom rolls.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I'll get them.
That was one of my first
Loves.
Snakes I really wanted. It just took a while to get.
Hold on, I'll get one.
And those are always asked here in San Antonio. Like, they always ask me, "Do you got doom rolls?" I'm like, no.
Dude, they're so underrated. What's funny is they used to be $50 snakes.
I'm gonna tell you what's real funny is 2 of these, or all 3?
2
were pet surrenders.
Yeah,
that's sad though. But at least y'all got them now.
Yeah, and that's where, like, listen, if anybody ever has a problem with their snake, don't feel. We'll take it, no questions asked. We've rehabbed. I mean, we have a Solomon Island boa that had its tail chopped off in shipment. We have all kinds of. Oh yeah.
Damn, that thing's huge.
Oh, that's tiny.
Gorgeous.
Right? Her name's Tina.
Do you guys find the doom rolls are more calm than the other boas you have?
100%.
Oh yeah, there's still.
I've never even had one hiss at me. Like, I've never had one get defensive. Like, they are just the most chill. But listen, the thing is like, if people want doom rolls, understand what they become. That will be a 10+ foot snake. Mm-hmm. And a big snake on top of that.
Says Tina is a babe.
Oh yeah.
I got like a couple of more questions. I don't know how many Eric has, but these are gonna get a little tough.
No, it's
Or
fine.
this one's for Travis because I know Brittany's worked with reptiles before, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you feel like you have no, sorry. What is one thing these animals have done for you that you didn't expect to happen when you started doing reptiles, Travis?
They have actually relaxed me a lot. Like Brittany gets on to me. Like I'll get a snake out and it'll put me to sleep.
He will fall asleep with a snake on his neck, y'all.
They will just like I'm telling
Shame
you,
him. Everyone shame him.
they just chill me out, and I'm a laid back guy. Like I don't. That's what I hate. I hate
With your
because of my
blood pressure at 140.
I can't help that though. I mean, I'm 260 pounds. Let's be for real.
You're 260 pounds. I'm only 224, 224 pounds, and my weight just stays there. I can't, like, I don't build any more muscle. Like,
So I have to cut down for my show. I have to be under 222.
oh, you're at 260. God, that's a lot. Wait,
Yeah, that's a lot to drop.
I'm like, hold up. How do y'all?
That's almost a
So how
quarter
do
of
you
me.
do that? That's what I want to know. How do you do that? Like, how do you cut?
Put it this way.
We listen to our coach.
I guarantee you, I eat more when I'm cutting than you eat in a day. Like I have to eat 6 meals a day. I have to I have to drink a gallon and a half of water, 6 meals a day, and that consists of about 7 ounces of protein and 150 grams of carbs.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Wait, you drink 2 gallons of water?
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah.
I thought they said we can't drink more than a gallon a day. They're liars. Damn it.
If you sat in your room,
Don't do it all at once.
Yeah. But also make sure that you're putting electrolytes back in your body. So I'll tell everybody, everything out of proportion can be fatal. If you sat there in that chair and you drank a gallon of water in the next hour and just sat there, your body, you would die. You would
Oh,
literally,
shit.
your body would think you're drowning. Your cells will explode. You will die sitting in that chair.
You get hyponatremia.
From the nurse.
Okay, that makes sense now.
So, like, you gotta remember how active we are during prep. We have fasted cardio in the morning. We have gym.
You
and then we
do.
have cardio. Yeah. She's genetically gifted. She don't have to do fasted cardio. My big butt has to get up every morning and do fasted cardio.
Right? Don't we just hate that? I hate doing cardio. I hate it. So I play basketball. That's my cardio.
I do kickboxing. That's mine usually.
I
Until
just
my
get on
coach
the-
makes me get on the bike.
I've dislocated my foot. I've dislocated my knee. All playing baseball. So I played baseball till I was 27. Played a year of professional baseball.
Who are you playing for, Travis?
I was in the Frontier League out of
Oh,
St.
nice.
And loved it. And
So
actually,
what? Hyponatremia?
No, spell cardio. I think it was.
I'm not gonna lie, Travis. If you were coming to the plate and I was pitching, I'd be like, "We might have to walk this guy."
I would even pitch to him. They're like, just score, just go around.
Yeah. So I mean, but I have more fun bodybuilding than I ever did playing baseball. Like I started bodybuilding when I was 38. So I'm 42 right now.
I'm 38. That's crazy.
Hey, no time like the present.
I actually want to get into steroids though. I want to take like Tren,
Ugh, no,
only because I have pain in my knees.
no.
Oh, no. We can't be talking about all that on the podcast. Moving
That'll
on.
that'll make everything worse. Don't do that. Do not.
Moving
Now
on.
listen,
He's just like, let's go.
listen,
And I told Eric I want to like talk about these questions. Like I got questions.
listen, bro. Listen, I'll tell you right now. Anybody that's competing is not natural. If you're
Oh, definitely not.
like, bro, I'm 42 years old. I'm competing against 22-year-olds and beating their ass. Like, but there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. Like, that's what I'll tell you. Like, there's like I said, if you drink a gallon of water and you sit in that chair, you'll die.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put my blood work against anybody, and I guarantee you my blood work's better than theirs because I donate blood. We do our blood work, what, twice a year, babe? Like, it's just one of those things.
Coach
like,
who tells us what to take uses our blood work. You know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
So that's one of the things. Like, I'm an open book. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna be 260 pounds at 42 years old, natural. Come on, let's be for real. Like, but I also stay in the very shallow end. You know what I mean? I don't do stupid stuff. Like the guys that, some of the guys I'm competing against are running 4 times what I am. Like, I don't even know how they function, to be honest with you. Like, so I mean, it's one of those things. If you go to a big gym, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll guarantee you 40% of the guys in there are running gear.
Oh, yeah. They always try to sell it to me, but I'm like, I don't know anything about it.
It's one of those things, man. Like, be very careful. Some of these guys make this stuff in their bathtub.
Yeah.
Like you, it's a very deep thing you can be in.
Oh my god.
But I mean,
that's funny.
Like, do things safely. Do your research. It's just like breeding snakes. You know, you're not going to put 2 motley boas together because it's a fatal issue. You do the research. Like, that's just one of the things. Like, I don't want to feel like people lie too much about the gym stuff and the influencers that are on. These guys that are on Instagram and look freaking jacked, you see them in person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't walk around at 3% body fat year round. You'll die. Like, it's not, like I said, I go from my last show was 210 pounds.
Or 2% body fat. That's crazy.
Oh, I mean, my last show, I think I was probably right around 2%.
Oh, damn. That's crazy. And you're like, I was at 2%.
Yeah. But it's hard. I mean, it's one of those things. You can't maintain it. It's not healthy. It really isn't. Like, that's why, like, I fluctuate back up to a healthy weight to gain muscle. And, you know, and that's one of the things. I would never push anybody towards it. You know what I mean? But I would tell everybody, even in their 30s, dude, go get your blood work.
Yeah.
Find out what your natural test level is. Like, the stuff that we took over the counter in the 90s is a steroid now. Like, I really think that hurt a lot of people in my age. Like, I think it really, I mean, do you remember GNC when they used to have the lockbox?
No, I don't remember them having a lockbox.
That's how old I am.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they had a clear box. It was usually on the left-hand side of the store. Almost every one of them had it. And it was basically legalized steroids that you could buy in the 90s. Like androstenedione. Mark McGuire got in trouble for. That was over the counter.
Oh, shit.
So
I didn't even know that. See? Yeah. Learn something new every day, bro.
I'll put it this way. Here's one thing. Steroids will never be legal because it will put the supplement industry out of business.
I could see that. So I showed this picture to Eric, and Eric says I'm big in this picture, but I'm at 185. That's just creatine, and I'm 5'11".
Yeah, that's you're a big dude. Like
just for anybody listening, I'm the smallest person out of all 4 of us here. Okay, I don't go to the gym. The only time I had a gym membership, I just used it to use the basketball court, the indoor basketball court, and that was it. So that picture right there, you were bigger than me right now. So
You know,
that's
it's
what I
funny.
meant.
It's funny because Trav and I like laugh all the time. You know, doing this like this hobby is super physical.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
you
like-
have to be strong to like do all this stuff and like move all these animals around and lift stuff up and do this and do that and like carry buckets of water and like I'm physically active all day long and I'm in shape and I'm strong and I don't know how people do it otherwise. I don't.
So,
See, but you think that, and then when you handle like a 15-foot retic and it throws you around, like I bench 365 pounds, and I was thought like, okay, this could be easy.
We don't even have the biggest reptiles out there, you know? Like I don't know how people do it.
so like you were saying, like, you know, I think this was me at like 215 before our last show. I don't know if it'll.
Hold up, let me solo you out. Yeah, you're bigger than me.
And that was.
Dude, my brother has a big back like that, and he's little brother. He's not a big brother. I'm the oldest, so he's little brother. Oh man. But I play arena football though. So I play arena football. I play football all my life. That's why it's so big.
Brittany didn't you play a year of football?
I did for the
No.
Tampa Bay Inferno.
Nice.
That's awesome. That is awesome. My mom actually tried to play for a woman 11-man team here
I'll
in
be
San
honest,
Antonio.
though, I'm not a small woman, but oh my god, I got my ass beat playing football with those chicks.
Right?
Those are
It feels
some
like you've been run over, right?
big women. Okay?
Professionals.
Yeah.
No, I'm just like, if you haven't played football, it literally feels like you've been hit by a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, the soreness, the muscles are sore, everything, like you're working. It hurts, dude. The next day, you're like
I
stiff.
don't understand.
You don't
have
want to move.
condition your body to it. Your body has to get used to being hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like by the end of the season, like you don't hurt as much getting hit. It still hurts, but your body builds up that tolerance to it. Like
Also, a big one is learning how to fall. It's when you get hit and your legs just go the wrong way. Like it's over.
I did.
Bro, I saw this
I did a
one big
couple
dude.
years-
Sorry, Brandon, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I did a couple years of jujitsu, and that was the first thing we learned. We spent like 3 weeks learning how to fall down and like protect your neck and that kind of stuff. But it's important.
Oh, me? I'm
Can I
being
give you guys a
linebacker.
funny story real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Of course.
I played pickleball for the first time on a cruise like 2 months ago. And I was just trying to run and I fell, but I did like a barrel roll and I was like, still got it. You know what I mean?
The James Bond.
Yeah.
Y'all want to see any other animals? What do we got?
I don't know. You can show us whatever you got.
Whatever you like, yeah.
show them Maya or either any of the Mayan stuff.
I do want to say this real quick though, because I know she told me you were trying to change the logo. I was like, why? The logo's awesome. I like the plate. The plate's cool. She's like, well, we're keeping the plate, but y'all gonna change the other stuff.
So the logo will stay the same. So I'm big into marketing. I want to be able to make hats. That's our next thing, is making hoodies and hats and gym attire.
I want one.
Where are you?
Definitely make
That guy
sure.
right there.
But I want the logo is too much for a hat, so we're gonna redesign the plate by itself, where it has all our information on the plate. Like we'll remove the snake from it, so we'll still have our logo, the one that we have, but we're gonna redesign it to where it's easier to put on attire. So like the shirt on the front may have just the plate, but on the back it'll have the plate and the snake. So we're just
That's cool.
I don't feel like anybody there's not a lot of merch when it comes to the reptile stuff. I mean, you see
I have a
it.
lot of merch.
He does.
I mean, you see it, but it's not like people don't take it to shows. Yeah.
The only probably big person that I've seen, like maybe in Daytona, was probably Hardwired Exotics had a whole just basically tables
his merch is pretty cool though. Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool.
That's what I want to do, stuff that people can wear like to the gym. Like, you know, if everybody had hoodies, I'd freaking buy everybody's hoodie just to be able to wear it to the gym. You know,
I
like
have hoodies.
sweats, you know, stuff like that. Yeah.
I don't know if I have sweats though, but I do have hoodies. I have hats too.
Yeah. So this is one of our real special snakes right here.
So she's thin right now because she just had a litter like 5 weeks ago.
Hey Travis, I also have women underwear.
Nice.
I'm not even lying. Like, women buy them.
Hey, listen, I'm telling you, there's a market for almost anything. But so this is a Super Mayan, Super Hypo, Super Mayan, Het Blood, Het JER T positive.
Yes, Jason's Exotics.
Yeah, so we haven't been able to prove out. We're gonna try to work on some of that in the next couple of years.
Well,
proving
no,
out albino.
Babe Eden's gravid right now.
Is she? So I'm excited about that one. So we paired a Super Hypo.
He says more doom rolls.
Yeah, he likes doom rolls.
So the hard thing about the doom rolls is that it takes so long to get them to breedable size. You know, I think a female has to be 7, like to really be like healthy. At least from what I understand, it's you know, we bought the first one as kind of a display animal just because I love them, and I fell in even more love with them when I got their temperament, and their scales even feel different. Like their body feels different than a normal boa. They're almost soft. And then the other two, like Britni said, were rescues. Like one of them had a mite infection that was, oh my God. Like I picked this snake up and literally I was covered in mites, both my hands. Like I was, and so we had a pretty fun run dealing with all that and getting rid of those. But the other one was, you know, we got her in. She was bad shed, underweight, just kind of not thriving at all. And now she looks amazing. I mean, she's, you know, we got her humidity up. We moved her into a tub. They had them in a glass enclosure. And that's the hard part about. So there's nothing wrong with a glass enclosure if you can close off all the ventilation in it. That's the biggest issue with it. It's all screen on top typically.
Mm-hmm.
Can't keep the humidity high enough for these snakes.
Oh, that looked like
There's
a rainbow
also-
bowl. I was like, dang.
I love how
Is this
they,
also? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I love how they had like the ski mask look on the side, like their side pattern. Babe, show
Yeah,
the pattern again.
I like that. That's gorgeous. Go ahead, Eric.
I was just saying about the tanks too. Usually people, if you have heat, it's drying out the humidity and it's just leaving the enclosure. It's just gone. And there's nothing there. So I completely agree with you.
Lucky to have, you know, our natural environment here in Florida is subtropical, so that really plays in our favor. But
The biggest issue,
even us, we have a hard time sometimes just with humidity control in certain enclosures, and like, you know, we're still learning too. Like, you know, we just moved our Amazon tree boa into a bioactive because I'm just hoping that's going to be enough to really help her thrive. Because nothing I've been able to do up to this point has, you know, been able to maintain where I want that humidity to be, despite being in the middle of Florida.
well, so the biggest issue we have in Florida is that we have to run our AC year round. Your AC will take all the humidity out. I mean, that's what it's made for. It sucks all the humidity out of your air. So,
Mhm.
when we have to run our AC, that nukes everything. We have to make sure we're watering more. When we get into the winter, when we're not running the AC as much, we don't have to water as much. We don't have to spray as much. I mean, you notice that even the tubs hold a little bit more water during the winter. Granted, we have 2 weeks of it, but
Yeah, it doesn't last.
And you said Amazon tree grower that you're trying to get, like, because there's a girl on Instagram. Her name's Becca Williams.
Uh-huh.
She has Amazon tree growers. If you want, you can hit her up. Just
Okay.
tell her I tell you to ask her, because I
And
know she works with them.
I've
So.
got great resources. I've been in touch with the breeder that we got her from. We actually saw
Okay.
him at our Repticon this past weekend, and he's the one we got the coach whip from. So we let him know kind of what was going on, and I think we're headed in the right direction. It's just one of those things that we're learning.
Big time.
And, we knew the BCIs and we knew the short tails, and we kind of tried to apply that husbandry, and that's just not appropriate. And I think that's one of the things that I like to stress to people who are new into it, especially if you're bringing in new species. Like, you got to do your research. We keep a lot of different stuff here. We have probably 30 different species.
Yeah.
And, I had to learn how to take care of every one of them appropriately.
Yeah.
Can I
do a lot of
off
research.
topic? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Travis, but off topic. I went to the Lakeland Reptile Show on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and I showed up at 1:00, and I was only there for like 2 hours. But the people that I met and the great conversations that I had with those people, I have to thank Chris, because Chris was the one that pushed me out of my comfort zone to go talk to, other people in the community, So Chris, I thank you. I really do.
Oh, appreciate it, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the question on the numerals, I seen that pop up.
It was if they only come in 2 colors, correct?
Yeah. So, there's some different phases. There's a dark phase where it'll hold a lot more browns. The browns will be a lot darker. There's a pink. There's some. I don't know how genetic. They're more genetic, I believe. There's not really morphs when it comes to it. The ones that I've seen can be super dark colored, or have like a lot of pinks. They're like a lighter, almost like a hypo version, I guess would be the easiest way to explain it. And then they have kind of a darker phase too. But I don't know how that works in breeding. I don't know how that if it's all polygenic or how that works there.
All right.
I'm gonna say we're learning Boas with you guys right now, because me and Eric we're just gonna ask a bunch of questions and see what happens.
Hey, listen, and we're not the experts. Like I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say some things wrong, and I'm not gonna, I may. All I can tell you is from my experience and my conversations. But I talked to some of the top breeders whenever we started in this, and asked them questions. And Eric, I mean, I'm sure like you'll see like people are very receptive to. I want to say
That is gorgeous.
Very receptive. Yeah, those are growing on me more and more.
That's a blood, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love blood.
Golden eye.
Oh, the golden eyes, yes. I love them when they're babies, though.
What's crazy about the bloods, and that's what we're going to do whenever we take them to shows, we're going to take adults with us. They color up. So you know how ball pythons, they kind of brown out as they get older? The short tails actually enhance color as they get older. It's insane. Like, you'll see a baby and I'm like, that's okay. Like, it's pretty, don't get me wrong, but it's not like, oh my God. And then you see the adult and it's like deep burgundy red. It's like, where the hell did that come from? And they're like, that's, and that's from talking to the breeders and understanding them a lot better than, you can't treat them like boas. You can't treat them like ball pythons. What they look like as babies like they end up getting like these pink hues on their head, like airbrush that they don't have as babies. It's been interesting. Those guys are very, very interesting. All the lights went off. Yeah, so our whole room is on timers. So all their lights turn off at like 8:30.
Savage Reptile says blood gets better with time.
Yes, 100%. Even the albinos. There's a T positive and a T negative.
Oh wait, that is nice. That is gorgeous.
Yeah, so like this one has pink blushing on its head that you can't really pick up in the video. But in person, I'm telling you, they almost look airbrushed.
Hey, nobody. He's my friend.
I gotta say, you got some gorgeous names.
You want to know his name?
What's his name?
Sling Blade.
We have
like
Meatloaf.
that Sling Blade.
We got Meatloaf.
When I hear Meatloaf, I think of Step Brothers, or not Step Brothers. What is it? Wedding Crashers. Is it Wedding Crashers? Where he's like, "Mom, the meatloaf."
Yeah.
That's Step
Oh,
Brothers.
yeah, Meatloaf.
Yeah, Step
No,
Brothers. Step Brothers.
Is it Step Brothers?
When he goes to Will Ferrell's house, when he's the funeral crasher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's funny. Every time I hear meatloaf, I'm just like, "Mom, the meatloaf."
Yeah, so the funny thing is about that snake was born on the day that Meatloaf died.
Oh wow.
And the breeder actually named him Meatloaf, and we kept it.
St. Patrick is like, "Ma, the meatloaf." Man, so y'all have mentors, or y'all just came in, did y'all's own research, or?
So we started off.
I have people I definitely consider mentors, and I have people that I will still call in a panic sometimes. You know,
Oh yeah, when our Mayan was getting ready to give birth, we had one of our friends,
Pretty.
Constrictors, Midnight Constrictors. Is that Tim's company?
Yes.
He was on the phone with Britni. I had to go out of town, of course. Like she dropped her plug, and I had to leave to go out of town. So Britni was there by herself, calling me, and I'm like, "Babe, I don't know. Like, all I know is the research I've done." So like, she was calling Tim, and Tim would get on FaceTime with her, and I'm telling you, there's some really cool people in this industry that will really back their products, and that's what we want. We want to back our snakes. If I don't feel like a snake is thriving, hey, we need to hold on to it. I don't, like I said, anything we breed, I know we might have to house it for the rest of its life. We have one of ours is born premature with the egg sac still stuck to him.
Oh.
And his name's Tiny, but he's doing great. Oh, that's our spotted Darla.
Oh wow.
But
I named her Darla because she's a piranha.
For Finding Nemo. Got it.
So when you're talking about when you're talking about snakes' temperaments, I think so. Like this snake was super bitey, like had a bad feeding response. I mean, that snake would wear me out. She would wear me out every time I took her out.
Up, Danny.
Put her on a different feeding schedule. She's a puppy dog.
That's part of that, being intuitive.
Yeah, you can't just say, "I'm going to feed this snake every 7 days," or "I'm going to feed this snake every 2 weeks." You have to look and see. I mean, we can tell if we need to feed a day early, 2 days early. If they're at the front of the cage, they're probably hungry. We check the hot spot. That's a key. If you ever see your snakes in a tub that are up to the front, check your hot spot. Make sure your thermostat's working because they will move to the front. He asked if bloods are nippy.
Yeah.
I would say wild caughts, like we talked about before. You get a wild caught blood.
This guy, everyone loves this guy. I would call him Nippy.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
But you
That
can
has to be my favorite so far right now from the
see,
blood.
he's kind of tense, and that's just how he is all the time.
But what's
He's
crazy
gotten a
is
lot better.
the
I
reds that. I'm sorry, babe. What's that?
I was just saying he's gotten a lot better. I handle him and
Yeah. So his reds will actually get darker red as he gets older. Like he's in his dad. We've seen his dad before we got him. Is so dark red, it's not even funny. And that's what's
damn.
crazy about him is that once they get to, I think it's like 4 years old, they really start bringing in a lot of color. Like they really change.
Yeah, he's everyone's favorite usually.
I got bit by a baby blood once, and I was impressed with the pressure. Not necessarily like how much you bleed or anything like that, but the jaw pressure. I was like, that was impressive,
If they bite, they
He
bite
got you
hard.
good, huh?
Yeah, right on the finger.
They don't barely bite either. Whenever they bite something, they strike through it. Like they try, like if they were going to bite your hand, they're going to try to bite through your hand to your face. That's how.
Oh yeah.
Hit. Like I've heard stories of big short tails where like they got bit here and their whole arm turned black and blue. Like
yeah, because when they hit that impact. Have you ever bet in a box? Man, I was watching two bloods. There were albino. One was albino T positive something. I can't remember what it was, but I put the rat in there and he, pow, just loud. I was like, oh shit, what was that?
what's funny is like they'll almost come completely out of the box. Like I mean, their whole bodies like jump out of the box trying to eat a rat.
What's funny though is this guy Bubbles.
Oh.
He's one of my biggest males. He's a rescue, and he does not. He's like completely domesticated, y'all. He does not strike. He does not constrict. I use tongs. I probably don't have to, but I do use tongs to just put the rat's face like right in his face, and he just opens his mouth so gently and just starts to eat.
Oh, that's cute.
Wow.
Well, so he's one of the rescues that we got with the Doomerals that I was telling you had the mite issue.
That's gorgeous.
We literally got him, and he was the same way with mites. I told Britni, I was like, tubs in the front yard, these things aren't even coming in the house. He was so dehydrated. He was underwater the entire time blowing bubbles. Like he drank so much water when we picked him up, he regurged so much water. Like it terrified me. I was like, this snake's not going to make it through the night. Like he's so he got the name Bubbles because he literally blew bubbles in the water the whole time that he was in there.
And he is just the sweetest thing. I'm so in love with him, y'all.
Hold on, man. My nephew keeps texting, hey. What, nephew? I see you. Thank you for stopping by. That's my nephew, guys.
Hi.
I want to know, what is this? What do you call snake things? I got to know this joke.
Yeah, what is it?
Eric he already knows. That's his brother, I think. He's funny though. He did that in the last live.
He said the last live. That's how he is. Like I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm over it.
That was good. That was good.
What was the answer? I missed it.
A boa
right there.
Constructor.
Oh.
But all right, guys. Man, we're already almost at the 2-hour mark, and I appreciate you guys.
No problem, man. We enjoy
Like,
it.
I really do. I mean, I'm gonna bring you back for a part 2. I still had tons of questions, but I mean, I was just trying to get to know you guys, figure you out, vibe with you, see some of your stuff, your collection, and you gave us a tour. I mean, it was amazing. I don't know if Eric has another question for you.
Yeah, I had 2 questions.
Go ahead, brother.
The first one, I sort of stalked your Instagram a little bit because just to get a little information, I guess. I want to ask, did you guys go herping down south at any point?
We love herping.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was so I grew up in Miami. I was born in Hollywood, Florida. I remember the Everglades being a kid. It was kind of an eye-opening experience. It kind of, there is definitely a problem down there. Is it as extensive as everybody says? I don't know. Where did it come from? There's some debate on that. But we spent 2 days, 2 nights, probably 6 hours each night herping, just kind of going through the Everglades, the national park. We really didn't see we didn't see one animal with fur in the entire time. It was crazy. Like, it was, I remember being a kid. We used to go to the Everglades and there would be raccoons and possums and armadillos, and we didn't see one.
They're all gone.
Like,
it was eerie, you guys. We didn't hear anything. We didn't see anything. There were no animals. We drove all the way down to the end, to the very end of the Everglades, like the end of the road. We stopped. We walked on trails. We wandered around. We saw frogs and literally nothing else. Nothing. I didn't hear.
Wow.
I mean, it was sad. It was sad.
I was going to say that.
Good.
That's probably sad. No, I was going to say what she's saying, that it was sad.
That's a really cool boa too. That's in our projects for next year.
Oh, wow.
Scoria.
It's one of my favorites.
That color is gorgeous.
Yeah, the color, beautiful.
Oh, you should see, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, pictures and video, that's only 10% of that snake. That snake is so much.
He wraps
so many
tight.
pinks.
Let me like open his tail up for y'all.
Man, that's gorgeous. Y'all got some gorgeous animals.
Yeah, I mean, if y'all are ever in town, man, feel free to stop by. Like I said, I mean, the pictures don't even do it justice. I'm telling you, some of these, I try to explain to everybody. I'm like, man, everybody will say, like, the Instagram pictures look amazing. I'm like, dude, you don't even know. Like,
He can stop by. I won't be able to. I'm in Texas.
Well, if you come to the Daytona show,
I was like, but if I do come, I'm bringing you a hoodie and her hoodie.
I need a 2X now. I need a 2X for sure.
Cool. I got you. I got it.
So, Travis, the second question, bro.
Yeah.
I keep going on this side. Was there anything that you, like, getting all your collection together, was there anything that you guys didn't foresee that became an issue?
So that's what I'm saying. I don't hate it. That's a terrible term. When people ask, what would you do different? Or if you're going to get into the business, what would you do? Man, there's a laundry list. There really is. Like, so we bought snakes. We did what we wanted to do. We bought snakes that we loved. Whereas if I would have thought about this being a business from the very get-go, I'd have bought more females.
Yeah.
Because everybody sells their males. I'm waiting to see, because when we start breeding, I want to see what the ratio is males to females. Like, where are all these females going? Because they're never to be found. Like, I'm
Holdbacks.
Bro, but you can't hold back 400 snakes a year.
That's true.
Like, I mean, I'm telling you, it's really, I want to see, like, what that ratio is, because we have a lot of awesome snakes where we're going to be running against the road. Probably this next breeding season is we have some snakes that we have set aside for it, but we're not going to breed our snakes every year. We're going to breed every 2 years, potentially every 3 years. I want to make sure. So some of the things that we always had questions and nobody would answer is, okay, when you own 100 snakes, how many of those snakes are you going to lose a year? That's been our biggest, we beat ourselves up. We've lost snakes. and to no reason at all. It's heartbreaking. It really is. Like, we struggled with it mentally. Like, man, like, is this really as fun as it is? Because you have to deal with death, and it's always your favorites.
Always the favorites.
We
Yeah, I
lost,
lost my favorites already.
It's
we
always
lost two of the most beautiful snakes that we owned this year, and
Yeah,
it's still,
I'm sorry to hear that. That really does take a toll on you mentally,
does.
but you got to
But
keep going.
I listen to a lot of YouTube and podcasts, and I think it was Dave Palumbo did an interview with one of the big boa breeders, like one of the top boa breeders. And he made a comment because, like, we've asked people, man, how many snakes do you lose? Like, no judgment. Like, we're struggling with it, and even our friends would kind of
Dance.
the question, like, and it's like, guys, man, like, I'm not saying you're a terrible person, but
Just want to know.
Yeah,
help
we
us
want to
feel
know like
better.
realistic expectation.
Or are we doing something wrong?
At one point, I had 100 snakes. I said at one point I had 100 snakes at one point, and then I had to downsize.
Yeah.
But I had like 3 of us helping us, and I had my boys too before they took off to Hawaii. Once they took off, I couldn't do it by myself.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest boa breeders, I guess, in probably the world, I mean, probably definitely the U.S. He said, he was like, I've been breeding for 30 years. I've lost well over 100 males in 30 years. That's just males. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's not counting babies. I'm not sure he's not counting, the grow-ups. He was talking about breeding males. He lost 100 of them. And, like, that's where, like, I called up Britni as soon as I listened to the podcast, or that was a YouTube video. I called up Britni and was like, hey, listen, babe, like, here's what the truth is. We have to understand that we're going to lose animals. And it's nothing we did. But it's also something that you better get mentally prepared for.
Yeah.
I kind of compare it to bodybuilding. Anybody can go to the gym. Anybody can have a somewhat diet. But to step on stage, it's 90% mental.
Yeah.
You're going to fight yourself every day. Do I really want to do this? Do I need to eat this freaking rice again? Like, and you mentally have to be strong. I've learned more about myself in the last 3 years than I've learned about myself in 38 years. Like,
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
And it's made me a better person for it, because you start seeing, like, the struggles, and you start seeing, like, oh man, this does kind of irritate me a little bit, because it brings it to the forefront. It makes it where you have to, like, pay attention to it. And, like, that's one thing with breeding. And that's where I think we're always going to have a hard time with it, losing a snake. But you have to be mentally okay with it. You have to be okay with the fact of, I'm going to lose some of my favorite animals. And he said, the other thing that he said, he was like, if you're going to breed males and females, you're going to get 8 years on average out of them. You're going to lose them due to complications. You're going to lose them from the stress. You're not going to have 20-year-old snakes.
If you're,
Takes a toll on their bodies.
Yeah.
And
Just
that's
like any other animal.
Stuff that nobody tells you. Like,
That's
why are
crazy.
you keeping that? You know what I mean? Like,
Really think about it. Like, really think about the people you know and how many animals they have and how many of those animals are over 10 years old.
Good point.
Yeah, I got you on that, Tim. I feel that. So, like, losing your favorite snake. I had a Brazilian rainbow boa. Somebody sold it to me, and it was way underweight. And she was growing out. She was thickening, and I had pulled her out on a live. Well, like 3 days later, she was dead.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
So
Don't know what happened. She was just dead.
My kind of talk. We were just talking about this recently the other day, and I think a big part of like all of these morphs and stuff, and me having my medical knowledge and everything, it's like morphs aren't just colors. We're not just passing along colors and stuff like that here. You know, you're passing along genetic issues. Like, there's no way to know because we don't do a lot of the research. The medical care doesn't go this far for the snakes usually, you know, but are we passing along heart disease, kidney failure, tumors?
And that's where,
who knows?
And that's where, like, I fear
blood disorder, like, you know, who knows?
I fear that, you know, the ball python industry could get that way, and because they're trying to put 6 and 7 genes in these animals. They're not made to carry that. We don't know what that does to their reproductive system. We don't know what that does. I mean, look at the fatal genes that we have already.
Yeah.
And that's where,
like, you know, their immune systems are weaker. I mean, I would say that just looking at our collection, that are like highly morphed animals are probably less strong. Like, you know, their systems are probably not as strong. Like, you see, we have one that has like a underbite. I've never seen a snake with an underbite in my life, but he has 5 visual genes, you know, so it doesn't really surprise me. That's the stuff that starts to happen when you really start like messing with genetics.
Well, and then, so on the boas, you look at like the leopard gene. Leopards have a bad habit of regurging. You can overfeed them real easily. Look at our last litter. So we had nine, one stillborn, and then 9 that survived. Out of all of them, the visual bloods have been the biggest pains in the butt to get eating.
They don't want to eat.
The hets,
the het bloods ate
anything that goes in you put anything in that tub, they're going to eat it. But our visual bloods,
it won't.
It's really funny.
Vegetarians.
You hear people talk about it, and then you see it, and you're like, wow, they were serious. Like,
wow. I'm just like, wow.
I agree. Like,
another thing I want to bring to your attention on that question, and something I've kind of thought about that I think is important to bring up to new people, is to know like the risks in your area. So, you know, you guys have been admiring like our new rack setup and everything back here. And a big part of why we went with a rack system like this is so that the tubs, we have all the lids to these tubs. You know, we live in Central Florida. We live in Hurricane Central. You know, we have to be prepared to pack up 100+ animals and get out of town like quickly. So that's part of why we chose this rack system. So, you know, now I'm going through and drilling ventilation holes in all these tubs, and we've got all the lids saved. So if we need to put the lids on and get out, we can go. You know, so those are things you need to think about if you're starting up. Like, what are the risks in your area? What can you do? Do you have an emergency plan? Like, we have fire extinguishers on every one of these towers. We have...
It's my fault.
Because Travis' safety spaz. Y'all, he shipped... Look, I opened this freaking Amazon box, and I sent my mom a picture of it because there must have been 15 fire extinguishers in this box. And I was like, Mom, we don't even have this many rooms in the house.
He's safe. That's what he's thinking.
Well, I look at it from a standpoint, like, one, guys, everybody has to realize, if you have a reptile, you have a fire source. Your heating lamps, all those things, like, it just takes one short.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Running a lot of power, and people just don't really think about it. Like, I mean, our power bill.
Heard the horror stories. You know?
We'll put it this way: our power bill went up over $200 a month just when we started breeding snakes. Like, that's the unforeseen cost. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, man, you know, what if a fire does break out? We have no way of handling the situation. You know what I mean? Like, you're not moving 100 snakes in a fire.
Yeah.
You know? And that's
I agree that more preparations you can make in a disaster, keep your sanity, like your cameras, and doing stuff from your phone. Like that sort of stuff eliminates the paranoia you have in your head when you step away from your animals for a couple of days.
Yes. Yeah. Everything's digitally monitored, which is nice. You know, use a backup thermostat. Like, take those precautions.
And the thing is that we always, like, I want everybody to understand is that our animals come first. You know, I feel like some of these other breeding industries, the animals don't come first, and it makes us nauseous. You know, Britni had a hard time when I first proposed, like, hey, you know, we love to have the means to do it. Do you want to do this? And she was like, her biggest fear was a puppy mill. You know, and that's rampant in Florida. That's rampant all over the world, all over the U.S. You know, and that's where, like, we had to talk about it, and we talked, and you know, we said, here's some of the moral grounds that we're going to stand on, and if we have to compromise those, we'll get out of the business. You know, and that's where, like, our breeding schedule is going to be based on what we have from leftovers from the year before. You know, if we have 50 babies that are still sitting, I'm cutting some of my females. I'm not putting them I'm not pairing them.
Yeah, I'd rather save them.
Yeah. Yep. I was gonna say, yep. All you can do is, like, pretty much whatever you work with, whatever you got. That's what I always tell everybody. So, like, when they always say, like, what's your one piece of advice that you have to everybody, it's just work with what you got. Like, if you start, don't go out and buy, like I did, 50 ball pythons and think you're gonna get rich, you know?
Yeah.
I did that. I just spontaneously went out, bought 50 ball pythons. I thought I was gonna get rich, but had I known, like, I fell in love with the clown gene and the clown morph and the pies. I love pies. Had I, like, just stuck with the clown and pie,
Yeah.
I would have been set. Like, I would have been good, but I didn't. And then I lost interest in the ball pythons, and then I went into retakes. So now I do all my research on my retakes. Like, I love them.
It's funny how that happened. Like, we all started like, oh God, I'll never. I remember us saying to each other that we would never have a blood python. You know what I mean? Like,
and now y'all have what?
And now
they're
my favorite.
30?
I have 30 of them. Like, I'm obsessed. You know. Same with,
So,
like, I never wanted colubrids. I'm not into colubrids. And how many do we have? 4 now? Yeah.
I do all my research and I just write it in here. If I have questions, like, for you guys too, when I bring on podcasts, I write them down, because if not, I'll forget.
Love it.
Oh. But yeah.
There's a responsibility aspect, especially. So I got into ball pythons first, but right now, like, I'm not a ball python breeder by any means, but the stuff I do have, I know what should be paired and what shouldn't.
Right.
You know, you can't just make 100, and you have to know what other people want. And if they don't want it, they don't want it. You have to be responsible and say, all right, this should not be made.
Yeah.
Well, I think what I'm terrified of, and I love science. Listen, I do water treatment. I love the environment. I love science. The one thing that scares me about Boas is I'm scared they're going to get to shed testing.
Yeah.
I have an issue with shed testing because I'm starting to see it used as bad purposes. You know, ball pythons are the only ones right now
together, and
sticking quad heads together.
Yeah, there's no intention.
Garbage.
There's no intention.
You know, and that's where, like, I wish people would take into account. And listen, if you're willing to take care of all those animals, do what you want. Like, I'm not judging anybody, but I look at it all the time about people that, like, I have to dump these 100 snakes because I got babies on the way. And it's like,
or even worse, they haven't even paired yet. They haven't even begun pairing. And they're already trying to push out what they have. You know, that bothers me. That's, I don't know.
To me, it's not ethical from the animal standpoint, but it's also going to kill the industry.
Right.
Because, like, I mean, it's a real thing. They're going to have to sell them at 10% of what their value is. and flood the market with a bunch of normal snakes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that it's one of those things. You know, there's a place for those. I would never tell somebody that's never owned a reptile to buy a moonglow. Don't spend $1,000 on it.
I would.
No.
Yeah.
But
They're
I'm saying, like,
gorgeous.
never had. Yeah, but I mean, you have snakes. I mean, you have snakes, and you understand reptiles. Like I'm saying, if somebody wanted to get into it new,
Oh, yeah.
I would tell them to
Yeah.
buy a red tail, a normal BCC red tail. They're
BCI.
bulletproof. BCI.
Yeah, no, you don't want them to get a BCC, babe. That's a big one.
Oh yeah. I mean, okay. So like a yeah. Never mind. I didn't think about that. I didn't think that went through. This is how she keeps me grounded. You see, like this is
Yeah, I like that. That
I
was
mean,
cool.
they can if they want to, but make sure they know.
But I wouldn't spend $2,000 on a baby snake when you've never owned one. Like, figure out the husbandry first.
Mhm.
You know, maybe buy a het moonglow for $400.
Sure.
You know, like, you know, do something that where you're not gonna, one, you're investing money into an animal. Two, you don't know how to care for that animal. But also buy from breeders that will have an open door policy with you. Like, our policy is, if you ever feel like you can't take care of your snake, you're more than welcome.
Bring it back.
Bring it back.
I'll take it. No question.
Like, I'm not going to judge you. We're not going to have a conversation. All you got to do is just bring it back, and we'll make sure that snake is taken care of.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
So, you know, we're trying to do things the right way.
I think people don't consider that, you know, that you're now turning over responsibility to another person. But I feel like ultimately that animal is my responsibility. I will take it back if for some reason you can't take care of it. But it's the same thing with, I don't think a lot of people consider, like, you're going to have runts. You're going to have babies with birth defects. You're going to have unpredictable issues, and you may not be able to move or rehome that animal. It may not survive. You know, it may make it 3 months. It may make it 3 years. That's something you got to be prepared for, and you've got to be prepared to provide care for them. You know, and that's where, like, you hear about people. You hear the horror stories, like Trav was saying. People just stick them in the freezer. Like, that's not right. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
if you're making it, you are responsible for it.
And what's funny is, if a dog breeder said that, they'd be in prison.
It'd be national news. It would be
Definitely. But since it's a reptile, nobody cares.
No one cares. Yeah.
And because why? They always say it's the number one thing they always say. A good snake is a dead snake.
But I think that's where we have to change that in people's perceptions.
Right.
You know, and we have to be the liaisons for these animals and get people to understand is that, like, and that's what, like, I love bringing people to the house, because when you can see 100 snakes, you're going to see their personalities. If I bring one snake out, you're not going to see its personality. You're going to think it's a snake being a snake.
Yeah.
We have some snakes that are the worst snakes on the planet. They don't even know how to be a snake. That's how domesticated they are. They, like, fall off you
Just
if you don't
fall
hold
down.
them. Like, it's like, did you forget how to be a snake? Like,
That's awesome.
you're meant to do this. This is your one job.
So I get that, like, because I bred one clutch of ball pythons before I got, like, out. Well, I bred 3, but my last female, she slugged out completely. Like, all slugs sucked. What a waste. And then I hit a banana calico. No, I had a banana head pie to a calico ghost head pie.
Nice.
And I made the run was a banana calico, you know,
Yeah.
head pie, head ghost. And it's right now it's still small, but I mean he eats good. He eats like he could eat like 3 of them, but
Yeah.
other than that, like he's just still the run. He's still tiny.
That goes back to the genetics. like you and you always hear this. Like at least that I do a lot of research, I watch a lot of videos. Like it's always the runt that is the most morphed. It's never the normal. It's always the most morphed. Like so, like our runt that had the egg still attached, ended up being super hypo Mayan blood, but it was highly morphed even above the other ones,
Right.
and it just ended up not developing as fast. So I wonder if there's.
She also had a stillborn that was like exactly the same. You know.
Oh,
The
So
only
that's
two in the litter were the stillborn and the runt.
So that's where I wonder if genetics are playing a part in that. And I'm not a geneticist. I'm not going to claim to be. Like,
Well, I
Yeah.
think it comes back to like I was saying. I mean, when you start getting like multiple, I mean these morphs aren't normal. You know, we're selectively breeding abnormalities. You know, so
Okay.
that comes along with other things. You know, this is why like pied animals in wild herds like deer are culled out, you know, by wildlife management because those genes come along with other health issues. That's just the nature of it. So, you know, I think the more you start putting, you know, the more genes you start shoving together, the more likely you are to have issues like that. It's how it is. You know, it's baked into the cake of selective breeding.
In some species, it's they'll outcross into a wild or an imported animal to strengthen the bloodlines
Exactly.
because the wild animals have stronger. I mean, I don't know. Like you said, I'm not a geneticist, but it appears like those wild animals have better bloodlines that are just stronger. They're more able to do more things.
It's just like any other animal. If you're breeding cats or dogs or horses or pigs or whatever, if you start, you know, shrinking your gene pool, you have more likelihood of just having issues. And that's where bringing in wild blood is beneficial. And they do well in the wild because they're mixing. You know?
and that was one thing that I was very conscious of because I had some better deals on snakes, but I would have been buying a lot from the same breeders.
Right.
And we made sure that there's a big diversity in our start so that we're not playing in a shallow gene pool.
Right.
You know, we made sure that we pulled from different breeders that were doing different things. And even I asked them, you know, where did this come from? You know, where did you originate this from? Or, you know, so like to try to make sure I wasn't buying babies from the same originator and just shortening our gene pool. But we're probably going to get a lot of hate for that conversation, but I don't care, to be honest with you. Like,
I was like, I don't know. I kind of agree with it though.
It's just something.
Well, not kind of. I do agree with it.
It's
Like,
just we felt, especially because we knew when we started that we were ready to establish like a large collection. You know, I think I think we started at a lot faster pace than a lot of people, which is very typical of me and Travis in anything. If we go hard, but we knew we were serious about this. We want to do this. We really want to invest in some quality animals. We want to have strong genes. We want to have genetic diversity. You know, that's all things we were very intentional about from the beginning. And I think it doesn't always happen that way. It's, you know, more organic for other people who start at a little slower pace because you're oftentimes going to go back to the same breeder. You know, that's
you're going to go where you're familiar
with that. But I think because we knew we were going to like jump into it, it's just something we made a point to do.
Well, that's what, like, I would say somebody that wants to get into the breeding aspect of it too, go to different shows. Don't go to the same show every year. Try to go out of state if you can. Like, if you're serious,
a lot this year. We've done a lot of traveling to like find different animals and meet different people. And
put it this way, you can't, if you're gonna invest, put it this way, you could go to Tenley. It would have cost us $800 for both of us to fly up there, stay the weekend, and we could have just bought clothes while we were there and saved on all the,
baggage.
It was cheaper to buy clothes at Tinley than to bring a bag with us.
Carry on.
Wow.
Wow.
I've only flown once, and I'm gonna tell you what, that shit was terrifying.
Oh, I hate
Oh my god.
flying. Hate.
I was what if the plane blows up? I was scared. I looked out the window.
Stuck in my thumb.
There's nothing you can do about it. That's what I say. There's nothing you can do.
All you can do
Travis
is hold
sat
on.
us the damn emergency exit.
Well, babe, look at us. They have to put us at the emergency exit. Like, let's be for real.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm just like I just hate the fact that the way the plane takes off, it's like a roller coaster. It's like
I can't.
But
that's the best
I'm
part.
terrified of heights. I'm terrified of heights, bro. I'm terrified of heights.
The first time I ever flew in my life, I'll take the long story and make it short. I ended up home, and our team got in college. We made it into the super regional, but we found out after we got home because there was some shady stuff that happened. So literally, I had to jump on a plane to fly back to Birmingham, Alabama. When you fly out of Orlando, TSA gives us a full pat down for sure. When you fly out of Orlando north, you take off south and you bank where you're looking at the ground. First time I ever flew, I almost lost my mind. I'm like, we're dying. I'm looking
exactly. That's how I feel. That's how I feel every time I fly. I'm like, I have to take motion sickness pills.
Orlando Airport is the worst.
Oh,
the worst.
I don't know an
We
airport
always
that's good though. Let's be honest.
go at midnight. We take the late flight or the 5 a.m. flight, and it's not that bad.
Huh.
I showed up there at 3 o'clock. I showed up there one flight at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the security line was full.
Really?
Full. Mm-hmm.
Wild.
It's usually a ghost town whenever we go. We just walk right through.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
But yeah, I mean,
I don't mind. From my experience, I don't mind flying. Getting up early, flying in the morning, and then leaving late at night. It was easy. It was quick. So
we do whatever we possibly can to avoid people.
Gotcha.
I hate big crowds. Reptile shows, they stress me out. I'm not gonna lie.
It's stressful.
But I do it because I love it. Like I said, I mean, we flew up to Tinley. What did we ship back? 6 snakes from that trip.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, we went ham.
Antisocial.
We have that hoodie too, the Antisocial Lifting Club.
Did y'all see my shirt?
Nice.
Or my sweater?
No, what's that?
I'm only talking to my snake today.
Oh, wow.
Love it.
I was like, no, I didn't even see you wearing that.
Yeah, we're homebodies. This podcast is the first anything like this I've ever done. I was so nervous, y'all. I've been nervous all day. But I just don't do stuff like this. But I mean, we just got the Instagram when we started the business, and we live at home, we go to the gym, and we play with our snakes, and we live our little life in our little bubble on our urban farm with my rats
Agreed.
and my quail.
You guys killed it for sure, and y'all are my longest podcast. I'm just gonna say that 2 hours and
we can talk
20
about
minutes.
This, the trick is getting us to shut up. So
yeah, we can nerd out on reptiles.
Even Bone Daddy, Vinny.
Hey.
Oh, Vinny's awesome. So that cutting board,
Yeah,
he does cutting boards, but that one's made for me a long time ago.
nice.
Hit Vinny up, man. He does some good work. If y'all want a cutting board for your cutting, to cut into eggs, that's the guy.
Nice.
Yeah, he has some great work. You know what? I think I can get the picture up. Hold up, so I can show you mine that he did for the podcast. Yeah, right here.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue is that once we get started on our reptiles, they're our babies. We nerd out. Like,
Oh, that's nice.
that's dope.
Yeah, he does great work. That's why I was like, gotta show it. Gotta show it. And you know, it's nice. I can't. Like Vinny does is amazing. So yeah. Oh look, so here are my retics. I do have pictures of them here. That's my female,
Aw.
and that's my male.
So bad.
I love retics. They're one of my favorites, and it sucks that I can't have them here, man.
And then
I love the grays that they have. The gray coloring on them is so
actual
intense.
gray. It's no other species has that color.
see, and then this one's my mentors. I was gonna say my friend, but it's my mentor, and he keeps me in check. Like, see, that's gorgeous. Yeah, he's on my ass. Like, if I'll tell him, or I'll text Eric and be like, hey man, I'm down in my slumps, and Eric's like, you want to call or talk about it? I'll be like, I'll call him and be like, hey, let's play some Fortnite or something, you know, when I'm not at the gym, because most of the time I'm at the gym. He's like, what are you doing? How you doing today, big dog? And I was like, I'm at the gym. But my mentor's like, you need to get your ass up and get moving. That's what you need to do. And he tells me straight out, like, he's not afraid to tell me, like,
That's what you need.
So
It's
You
hard.
gotta have those guys. You gotta have those people in your life, man. That's
and
what
I love those kind of people.
Lucky,
Yeah.
I'm lucky I live with mine. So that's where it's the days that you're struggling. Well,
Man, you guys are the best. I'm not gonna lie, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. This is a good podcast. Yes. Glad y'all said yes too, by the way.
Yeah.
we appreciate it, man. Like anything, like we've all been there, trying to start off and trying to grow things. You gotta network together. You gotta work together. You gotta find people that are like-minded. I mean, it was the same way with bodybuilding. You know, the same way with my business, my environmental business. Like, it's building those relationships. Like, I mean, I've done some crazy stuff. Like I've Volcano Bay for Universal. I designed all the water treatment for that entire build. Hagrid's, I designed all the water treatment for that, but it was all through my friends. You know, that's how I landed those opportunities. It's
Right.
you know, you get those relationships, and there's not a lot of good people in the world. I know that sounds cynic, but when you find them, you got to keep them around.
That's one thing when we got started. I remember I was building our Instagram and I was trying to, you know, get started with networking and messaging people and talking to people and just trying to like get us out there. And I remember like when we were ready to start buying animals, and, you know, obviously we were using Morph Market and all that stuff, but I was like, well, I've made some contacts. I said, let me reach out to people because, you know, projects change and goals change, and you're on the fence with animals sometimes and stuff like that. So I sent out a couple messages like, hey, we're looking for, you know, more mature female boas, just seeing what you guys have out there. It's very professional about it, you know, just kind of inquiring. And I got a couple like nasty responses, you know, and just people like, well, I'm not gonna sell my gold and blah blah blah. And I was like, time out, you know. I feel like it would just benefit. It ultimately benefits you to just be kind to people. Like, you know, I didn't say that to them, but what I want to say is like we're bulk buyers. Like at this point in time, we were buying multiple animals from people at one time. Like if you play your cards right and you're a nice person, like you could have a really good customer for a long time. You know, we're loyal people like that. And I would tell these people, like, you really should be careful, like the approach you take with people who are just asking questions. You know, there's no need to be nasty to people. There's no need to, all you're going to do is it's going to turn around and it's going to bite you in the ass in the end. You know, you never know who you're talking poorly to, or like, it doesn't matter. Just be kind to people, you know?
There's people that we'll never buy from. I don't give a crap.
Just
I
because of
don't
the way they
care.
communicated.
I won't. I don't care if they give me the best deal on the planet.
Point
They can go
blank.
paint sand. I will not, because there's people that were just absolutely. Try to ask questions and and yeah, it was. You know what I mean? We just.
I know what
And
you mean. I
we make a
definitely
point,
do.
like, we don't inquire about animals unless we intend to buy it. We're not window shoppers. We make a point to like be professional when we communicate with people. I guess I just made the mistake of expecting that in return. You know what I mean? And it's a shame, because I think a lot of people have the potential to do really well, and they just lack the ability to get off their soapboxes. And you're not gonna be successful in this industry unless you have people to sell your animals to, and
Mm-hmm.
you're dependent on us. I'm dependent on you, so why are we shutting each other down? Why are we a simple like, hey, sorry, I don't have anything right now. Cool. That's sufficient. You know what I mean?
And I just want to say that's why I started the whole podcast, because a lot of people were getting like that. Like they would just come in and leave, like come into the industry or the hobby and just leave.
Yeah.
And if we think about it, we really need them. We need the numbers.
Yeah.
We need everybody that
we have
works
to
with
support
reptiles.
each other. It's not first-time reptile buyers that are out here buying $5,000 animals when you produce them. It's us. It's each other.
Exactly, Tim. So Tim's another good guy. If y'all have any questions, you can reach him out. He has his own podcast too, but he's
Check out his
actually
YouTube too.
yeah, well, his YouTube podcast, yes. And
Sorry.
he actually no, you're good, brother. He actually does educational videos and all that stuff,
Yeah.
like Tegus, retics. I think he has Burms as well, Burmese.
All
And
the
the
big
Ricky
stuff.
Ball said Creech. Yeah, he has big stuff. What does this
What
say?
I liked about Tim is doing a Tegu.
Yeah.
I don't know how you call it, like socialization thing, where he took in a Tegu and day by day he was
He does a
working
video
with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And it was cool to see.
That's cool.
Like he's taking his time to educate people, like how to.
And it's a big
prepare
boy.
the Tegu.
It's a big boy.
It's a big boy.
That's
It's
awesome.
not no little Tegu. It's a big Tegu. I thought it was a baby when he was talking about it, but then I see the video. It's like, oh, that's huge. Oh yeah, see, he does berms, retics, Tegus, Nile monitors, green tree pythons.
Nice.
God,
Very nice.
the top 3 we can't have in Florida.
Yeah, no kidding.
Tegu
It's
still
funny
wants to
because
eat me.
you asked about the U.S. Ark, and I was mentioning the reptile store down the road from us. So the president of the U.S. Ark, owns this reptile store, and it's really cool because when we go in there, they have, what do they have, babe? They have a Tegu,
Alligators,
a Burmese. They raise alligators for the local alligator farms, so they'll have little babies that they grow up and then they swap them out. They have a green anaconda. So it's right there.
That's what I want.
Have you seen the albino?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want that too.
Have you seen it in
Did you
person?
see it at Tinley?
No, I haven't seen it in person.
Oh
No.
my!
Amazing. It's amazing.
Like,
Yeah.
See,
I'm
I've been doing my research on that. Like, I really do want an anaconda. Like, I've been researching anacondas. Like, just like I said, I'm trying to change up with the
You're in
animals I
Texas.
love.
You could have whatever you want, bro.
Oh yeah, I know I can. That's why I'm like, first I gotta get my back to the drawing board. Remember, back to the drawing board. I gotta get my room set up like their room first of all, and then we'll go forward.
Boy, I tell you what, now that I got this Coach Whips are Florida native, and he might get a girlfriend. That's all I'm saying. So
they're cool.
All I know is if y'all have babies, y'all better send me some pictures so I can be like, ooh,
he is so cool. I'm so obsessed with him.
that one.
Yeah,
He's very
I'll be
pretty
like-
too.
oh, it's insane. Like, I've seen him in the wild, but I've never seen one as clean. Like, that one is
Yeah.
insane. And like we got it from one of our friends that captured it. It was in a house and they called him out to remove it. And he was like, I'm kind of debating selling it. He was like, I kind of want to keep it. And it was Mother's Day weekend. And I told him, I was like, listen, she already had it in her hands. I'm like, bro, you're gonna have to sell this.
It was mine. It was already mine.
That's awesome.
So we worked out.
Awesome.
We told him he does some educational stuff. So he'll probably borrow it when he does some educational stuff. We told him, I was like, that's fine, man. Like you can take some of the Boas with you. Like he's a good guy. Like he really Valhalla.
Oh, I know who that is. I follow him.
He's freaking awesome. Man.
He's great. He's great. He's a great.
And it's actually been coming in a lot of my stuff, and I was like, "Who is this guy?"
Dude, he's really cool, man. Like he is super knowledgeable. He does venomous stuff too.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Definitely do know who you're talking about.
He has probably one of the most beautiful false water cobras.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this thing, and now I want to.
I feel you on that because I want one too.
Yeah.
They kind of resemble the hognose. That's why I say.
He's got a female that's like 6 foot long, and it's a puppy dog.
Yeah, she's awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, guys, I have one more question only because my phone's about to die.
Oh no!
Just drained my whole phone, and plus I have to. So my
I have
microphone
mine
here goes straight into. Yeah, but my microphone goes straight into my phone, so that drains the phone too.
No.
So it's gonna be an easy question. What do y'all think of the podcast?
Loved it.
Oh, I'm having a blast. Yeah.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
I
But
love to
this-
be like, like a bumbling idiot the whole time, but I'm having fun.
Anytime you guys need somebody, we'll be willing to jump on. It's been
Yeah,
a great
we'll talk forever
conversation.
about snakes. So
At least, like, it may be right, may be wrong, but you get our honest opinion. That's just the way we are. So, I mean,
I loved it. Like,
Yeah.
I loved it. Like,
So this is I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you, brother. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, hold on.
No, go ahead. What'd you say?
Podcast.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Now, yeah.
Good. This is only my second
Yeah.
ever doing a podcast, and you guys made it amazing for me. It made me feel really comfortable, and it was very easy just to talk to you guys. So I really
Yeah, it
appreciate
was.
it.
oh,
And I was the same way like Britni. I was like, oh no, we got a podcast. Oh no.
Yeah, he gets
I
nervous every
made
time.
Travis do this with me. I was like, babe, I could not do this alone. So I'm glad he got on here to talk to you guys with me. I can't.
Well,
do
yeah, I
anything
was
without
hoping
it.
y'all would do it together because that's what, when I saw y'all's Instagram, I saw it was like y'all two, and I saw that y'all were a power couple. I was like, man, not only do they own snakes, they work out, their fitness. I was like, hell yeah, these guys are awesome. Definitely
Well,
bring
just
them on.
with him having to leave town for work, I was like,
Yeah, I'm on the way to North
Laptop.
Carolina right now.
Damn. But you be safe, brother. That's all I gotta say. Be safe out there.
I appreciate
Well, be
it.
safe flying too. So,
Oh, I drive it.
oh, you're driving?
I've been so busy this year. I've already got almost 15,000 miles on my truck this year.
Damn. That's a
Wow.
lot. Wow.
Yeah.
It's time for a new car, huh?
I just got it
it's
in
brand new.
January.
I was like, Dad, time for a new car, huh? Never mind. No, I'm joking. But I do have one more question.
Yeah.
I said that was the last question, but this is always my end question. So if you could change one thing about this hobby or industry, what would it be and why? Oh, look, Tim's in North Carolina. You said you're on your way there? Maybe y'all can
No,
meet up.
here. I'm in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Thanks, Vinny. I didn't even know you were still here. Appreciate that.
One thing I would change about the hobby.
Thanks, Ricky Ball. I hope you subscribe, like, please share this out. They were amazing. This has to be seen.
One thing that I would say is that I wish it was more open and honest.
Yeah.
Like the conversations we had tonight. You know what I mean? Like this is information that I think nobody wants to give you. Nobody wants to tell you the dark side of it. They want to, they want to powder coat it, or they want to
Sugar coat it. Yeah.
Powder coat it.
I like that too.
powdered sugar.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say they're powdered sugar, but
they want to like gatekeep information.
Yes.
Like you try to ask about humidifiers, or you try to ask about, and people are just so sketchy about
treat you like
and they that's probably one thing I wish that would change a little bit, is that everybody would kind of, I think if we all work together, we could breed less snakes and make more valuable snakes.
Right.
If we partnered up and we worked on projects together, I think that's one thing. Everybody's so worried about being the first.
Yeah.
Dude, make quality animals. Like,
that's what I've had people who are trying to get into it ask me similar questions, and that's what I tell them is just stick with what you love. Like that's where you won't. Travis is in sales. I hate like being pressured for sales. Like that's a pet peeve of mine, but it's obvious when you're passionate about something, you can sell it to somebody, like
well,
you don't have to fake it, like.
Here's the caveat to what she just said. Yes, I have to do sales, but if I was a copier salesman, I'd be the worst copier salesman on the planet.
You're not passionate about it.
I have to believe. I can't do the used car salesman thing. I have to believe. I have to, enjoy what I'm doing to be able to sell it. So if you care about it, people can tell it.
Yeah, it'll sell itself. Yeah.
I appreciate that, Ricky.
I agree 1,000%. I don't sell any animals, and whenever someone is asking me questions about snakes, which I can't fathom, is they want a snake from me. I'm like, why would you want a snake from me? I don't breed anything. Why would you want a snake from me?
Because you talk to them, you help them, and they know you. Yeah.
That's what I didn't realize. Like if you're passionate and you just talk to people nicely and help them, they'll want to help you.
Even in a more simple way, what's funny to me, like something we've come across a couple times, is we'll see these like kind of obscure or like new genes or morphs that come out, right? We'll see them at shows or whatever. You try to talk to people about them, and the thing is, when they're new or different or unique, people want top dollar for them, and that's fine. It's fine. But if you're trying to gatekeep the information, like I'm not going to buy a $5,000 or $10,000 animal from you if you're not even going to tell me anything about it. Sell it to me. Why do I want to invest in this animal? You can't gatekeep information and sell $10,000 animals. You're never going to be successful that way. Like it's like I was saying before, like we're dependent on each other in this industry, in this hobby. Like we may be open to buying a $5,000 or $10,000 animal if it's a valuable investment, and you have to show me or tell me why it is. I don't just want it, and I'm not just going to spend $10,000 on it because it's pretty and it's different and it's new. Like, what does it do? How do I get involved in the project? And people don't even want to share that information.
So here's a bigger one. What I wish the industry would do is educate people on what a reptile show is. It's not a petting zoo.
It's not a petting zoo. Stop taking your kids to play with snakes.
You can take them to look at them and enjoy them, but the fact that these kids are running around and asking to hold snakes, I'm sorry, I'm probably going to get a bad rap, but I'm not putting one of my babies in your child's hands.
Just because.
I mean, you wouldn't, because I know people that do that. To be like, can my son hold it? Be like, no. It stresses out the snakes, or they'll say something like that,
But I feel
I had a friend that did that.
I feel like that's becoming, because this whole, not only the industry, but the world has changed to where when somebody has a bad experience, they put a bad review out just because. Like, and that's one thing that I wish the industry would do a better job of. Like when Repticon comes, they need to put a disclaimer on there that this is not a petting zoo.
Yeah.
They need to defend us more than we should have to defend ourselves.
Agreed.
Like
I agree, because like, what if that kid touches a snake with mites and then touches your snake? You know what I'm saying?
That's what
Biosecurity.
I think there's so many times that I think I've earned a lot of respect from some of the big time breeders, because I'll ask questions about a snake and he'll be like, "Do you want to hold it?" I'm like, "No, I don't hold it unless I'm going to buy it.
Right.
I don't want to see it. Like, I don't want to take that chance of harming your snake. I don't want to take a chance of that dude next to me could have bumped into me and put a mite on me." And like, they're like, "Man, I appreciate that. You know, everybody usually wants to like hold it.
Just hold it. Yeah.
Let's get to the point to where I think sell me on it, and then yeah, I'll take a look at it." Like, but it's one of those things. Like, even us as breeders, like, you don't need to be touching everybody's stuff. Like, you don't. It's not a petting zoo. Like, I know, like put it this way: we had a friend of ours, a good friend of ours, Tim, sold a snake. The guy took it out of the bag and gave it to his kid to hold.
We're standing there talking while he made the sale.
He comes back 20 minutes later, and the snake's got a huge bump on his side, like swollen. And Tim, the guy's like, "Hey, you know, the snake's got a bump on it." And Tim's like, "You know, I checked it out. It was fine." The kid walked up with it, is what I caught. And then the dad took it from the kid.
Yeah.
And Tim was like, he's like, here's one of the same morph. Here you go. I'll take this one. And when the guy walked away, he's like, "I have to, because he'll write a bad review and then I'll get ostracized because I sold a damaged snake."
Yeah.
When I know the snake was perfectly fine before his kid dropped it.
Man.
And you know, that's the world we live in.
Oh damn.
I wish the shows would do a better job of advertising. This is not a petting zoo. Like, this is a reptile show. You're here to look, not touch, unless you're going to buy.
Agreed.
But I think the other thing is too, is people need to be educated about it.
Yeah.
And you know, that's one thing that, you know, I think that would be an awesome podcast, is get a couple breeders on here and say, "Hey, what are some rules for shows? If you were a non-breeder and you're bringing your kids or you're coming, what are things, big no-nos not to do?" You know,
I'm gonna take your question and ask others now. I'm gonna write that down.
because I think that's the thing, is like, that's how we reach people, is through podcasts. You know, somebody may not like snakes. They may see this podcast and go, "You know what? That's a pretty cool setup. I'd like to do something like that." It's more than just a dog. It's more than like, so like, that's where like, I love the podcast, dude. You're doing an awesome job, and we appreciate being on here. And you know, if you ever need anything, you always reach out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, appreciate that, brother. But before we do go, and my phone's really about to die already. It just gave me the warning. Positive message before we head on in here from you and Britni.
Positive message.
I tend to be the realist. She's probably gonna have to come up with this. Take care of your animals the way you would take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
just
a good one.
Never lose your passion. Like, if it gets to where you're not enjoying it anymore, then reconsider. You know, leave it for the benefit of the animals. You know, leave it up to the people who still have that passion and still want to you know, progress the hobby forward. But as long as you have that fire, like, just have good people around you and, you know, do ethical things, and you'll be successful.
Hell yeah, agree. And you have one, Eric, before we get on out of here? You want to say something different, or you want to stay with the same thing?
Yeah, I got you. It's a little bit like what Travis was saying. If you're no good mentally, then you're no good to your animals. You need to be strong as a person so you can be strong for your animals. You need to be in the right headspace. You need to be taking care of yourself. You know, I just think sometimes I know I'm talking about me. I sometimes put my animals before myself. You know?
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry,
No,
Tim.
no.
You see what Tim put?
My bad, Eric. That had nothing to do with what you were saying. I promise you. I just couldn't hold that one back. That one.
No, you're good. You're good.
He got me.
Eric, I feel that because it was a big change for me going from working full time. You know, it unraveled in our life that we were able to start this part, you know, this chapter with the reptiles and me going back to school, and kind of, you know, it worked out that way for us. But it was a huge change for me to go from working full time to being at home full time and taking care of these animals all the time. So you know, you can ask Travis, like, I've gone through my mental health issues of getting my ass up out of bed in the mornings and making sure that I eat. And especially like when we've gone through things like changing out to all these new enclosures, you know, the house is wrecked, and like it's taken a mental toll on me. So like now my house is finally back together, and like that's a very solid point, is like the animals are here for a long time. You have to be committed. You have to get up and do these things every single day. They are dependent on you. You know?
Agreed.
I agree as well.
I have to check my mental health sometimes for that reason. Like, okay, it's time to get up and take care of the animals, and don't forget to eat and drink your water, and you know what I mean? Like, I do the same thing very often, where I get so caught up in completing my tasks with the animals for the day that I don't take care of myself, and that's something you definitely have to do. So Travis
100%.
reminds me all the time, they're gonna be okay.
100%.
You
Yep.
need to stop and eat. Go to sleep. You need to sleep at night. You know.
Well, I really do appreciate you guys for taking the time out y'all day, especially you traveling on the road. I appreciate you for being here, Travis and Britni. Like, y'all are amazing. I am gonna keep talking to you guys afterwards. Actually, if y'all can stay backstage after we, you know, end this live, I want to ask Britni something. See if she says yes, hopefully. But other than that, y'all don't have anything else to say. We out of here, and y'all have a great night.
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody.
Nothing else, Eric?
Everyone enjoyed it.
Have a good night, everyone.
All right, guys. Remember, lift each other up, never put each other down. Be nice, and always be kind, because you never know who's going through what.
Exactly.
All right. On that note, we out of here. Love you guys. Y'all have a great night.
Have a good one. Thank you.